Come on, yo. Come on, yo. Slant. Yeah, but isn't this the unplugged version? I don't know. I think it's the unplugged version. All right, Parra, let's go. All right, listen, y'all. Just go ahead and let the guest play. Come on, jeez. That's better. Gotta go.
Movie I've ever seen in my life. I cried no less than 8 times in the film, and as soon as I did, I knew I had to come and make this video. There is not going to be another film like this until like Ant-Man Quantum. This film is the greatest form of representation to have existed. This is the movie that's going to end the war overseas. I have not consumed any piece of cinema, literature, musical piece, nor has there ever been a historic moment that encapsulates the appropriate representation like this film does.
Guys, this is comedy.
This was probably the most
It's a very dry,
riveting Marvel movie I've ever seen in my life.
Member of the channel. And his
I
take
cried no less than
on
8 times
Wakanda
in the
Forever.
film, and as soon as I did, I knew I had to come and make this video. There is not going to be another film like this until
the next one.
Ant-Man Quantum. This film is the greatest form of representation to have existed.
The greatest.
This is the movie that's going to end the war overseas.
Yes.
I have not consumed any piece of cinema, literature, musical piece, nor has there ever been a historic moment that encapsulates the appropriate representation like this film does.
Speak. All righty, Polly here on the Latino Slant. What's happening, everybody? I hope everyone is doing well. This is a special live stream with special people, and here at the channel, we really appreciate all the new people coming into our community and hanging out. We see you, we hear you, and I know you're hearing us. So we have some wonderful people here. We have a lot of emotion already on this panel and in the chat. So what I would love for you guys to do right now is share the link, let people know we're here, let people know that we're going to be cooking con grasa, and the temperature is going to be hot. Yes, guys, it was a joke. That's the thing, man. We can't even discern like what's satire nowadays. I literally had to put the word satire in my video where I proclaim and show you guys the seating charts for Wakanda Forever, which was another cringe thing. But what's done is done. Have you guys seen the movie? Do you want to see the movie? Let me know in the chat, because I love it when these movies, whether they're great or not, good or not, objective, subjective, it spurs so much conversation. And we're talking about a superhero movie, right? Yeah, the last time I checked. So let me know, guys. Let me know in the chat. All right, so here we go. We have already 30 people in the chat live. Muchísimas gracias. Welcome to the Latino Slant. Share the link. All that good stuff is on our social medias. Right now, let's bring in our panel. Okay, and let's start from from left to right. Miss Riena Creole. Hola, Riena.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Whoa, buddy.
You know that's the Spanish before I have to start the English because we speak Spanglish down here in Florida.
Right. Right. Whoa, buddy. I'm well. I feel really good. I'm very excited, and curious of everyone's thoughts on Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2. So thanks for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Clobbering times. Okay.
Hey, thanks for having me, buddy. Great to see you. Great to see you. Look at beautiful lady Lorena. It's so good to see you again. And look at that great chat. Amazing.
Amazing chat.
Hey,
already,
buddy.
Already.
Hot chat. Right.
Yeah.
People are praying for Mexican Iron Man to be on the panel. He's not going to make it. He's actually in physical therapy. He will be listening, and you can always hear his rant on our channel, which was pretty seismic. Pretty seismic.
Yes.
And
Epic.
And thank you to Midnight's Edge for they asked if they could clip it, and that just brought in a lot of people in it, and I want to speak to that. But let's move it. Let's bring on other fine members of this panel. ¿Cómo estás? What's up?
Just so wonderful to be here with you all on a Saturday talking about this very unique film. I'm just excited about this.
Right on. Well, it's good to see you and have you live on the slant. It's been a minute.
Thank you.
So thanks for being here. And last but not least, y más importante, my good buddy, film critic for the Daily Cella and other avenues, Rosa Parra from Rosa Reviews.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on.
How you doing, Parra?
I'm in there. I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging.
Wow.
I said in the backstage before we were starting, it's like, I'm kind of scared of Rosa right now. She asked she's like, can we curse? Yes.
Oh my!
I mean, spoiler alert! I'm gonna come nowhere near Mexican Iron Man. Nowhere near that. But I'll say this. I kind of relate.
Yeah. Hey, that's why I wanted to put together this panel. So I'm really happy that you guys are here. Great chat. Thank you all for being here. Please keep sharing the link. This is the Latino Slant, and let's go right into it. We kind of want to do like a guided panel, guided conversation. Let's get you guys' thoughts on the Wakanda movie, in regards to filmmaking, in regards to storytelling. What were your thoughts on this? Was it competent in it just being a film, from cinematography to the storytelling to the dialogue? Let's get your thoughts, and let's start off from the way I brought you all in. Riena Creole.
On technical merit, I would say it's about a C plus. I'll say like about a C minus. The rough outline of the story was there. The acting, I would say, was much better than the writing. The plot was so in the end, I feel the movie did its job of a beginning, a middle, and an end. And
you're saying it was a film?
Yes, I'm saying
it was.
Is what you're saying. It was a film. It was there. Not Citizen Kane, not Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, not How High. But it was there. It did what it was technically supposed to do. I guess I'd put it that way.
Okay. All right. Clobby.
I mean, I would agree with Lorena about the acting. They're all fine actors. I mean, you never really lay it on the actors. They're all good and professional and stuff. I think it's actually fairly poorly written. I'm filmed and all that stuff. Yes, it's on a fairly technically. I think it's competent in that respect, but it's an absolutely horrendous story and plot. The plot's ridiculous. I mean, you could just sum it up in a couple of seconds. Namor wants to attack destroy the surface world, which is comics from the comics, and he wants Wakanda to help him do it. And when they won't do it, he wants to declare war on them. Boom, that's your dumb story. And it's nothing. And very much, of course, I know there are other elements to the story. I know that, but that's your basic plot: is a war between two mythical nations, if you will, that are technologically, similar to each other and superior to the rest of the planet. In and of itself, not a bad premise, I guess, for a superhero film in an established Marvel universe. Kind of lame, really, at this point, considering how far along they're supposed to be in the MCU. But that's just an opinion. So I don't think it's much of a plot at all. And to stretch it out the way they did, it needed a lot of filler, and they got a lot of it. In my opinion, a lot of bad filler.
And
Yes, in regards to this film, I think they failed in regards to the execution of the film itself. And the reason why I'm going to give it an F is because after speaking to so many people who did get to see this film in the movie theater, I came to the conclusion that the scene where they show you the underwater kingdom, which is a pretty important part of the story, certainly something that I was looking forward to seeing. My eyes were wide open to see what it was like. It was too dark to really make out any real details and incredibly blurry. And so I said, it's got to be my theater, right? It can only be my copy that's like this. But now, after asking so many people about this, to find out that there is some sort of issue with the brightness, or at least the execution or the copy, according to Robert, there's some specific word for this. I think that's a failure. This is a major motion picture that's supposed to make $1 billion. And if they found a mistake like this, they would have pulled that. They could correct it. This isn't the old stage where reels are on rolls and they have to send that back. You send another copy that is corrected, and they didn't do that. They haven't done it. And I don't like that. I don't like paying money for a film and not being able to see it correctly. So I have to give them an F for that.
That's interesting. I wondered about that, RM, about how dark the thing was early on, especially.
Yeah. Okay. Well, she watches, I think, like 10 films a day for her film critic profession.
Wow.
Rosa, film and story, Wakanda, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
I'm always one of those first people who always tries to come in with an open mind. So when it comes to comic book movies or superhero movies, I try to be as lenient as possible by not being too critical about it, because at the end of the day, it's a comic book movie, right? However, this is a sequel to the only superhero movie that's been nominated as a Best Picture at the Academy Awards. Black Panther is an Academy Award-winning movie. So, naturally, when you're coming to the sequel, you're coming with high expectations. You're coming to see something similar to its predecessor, which unfortunately this film does not deliver. I think I'm mixed on it on several aspects. Some elements did work for me. It is emotionally effective, of course, with Chadwick Boseman and T'Challa and all that. I think it delivers that aspect of the film very well. The exploration of grief, it's also well done here, and I appreciated those elements. However, there's too much going on. You are trying to juggle too many things in one movie that it doesn't work. It doesn't flow properly. And I agree, it's dark. It wasn't that, it was very difficult to see in a movie theater. And in terms of there were some subplots that we could have done without. You could have that time run. it's almost a 3-hour movie that I don't think it needed to be that long. The time run, I don't. If you would have done without 2 subplots, we would have been way better. But Marvel's gonna Marvel, and you have to set up for upcoming projects and movies. And sadly, it's just too much to fundle. It's just too much that the execution didn't work for me. So I'm mixed on it. I appreciate some aspects of it, but as a whole, I'll be completely honest with you. I'm never gonna watch this film again. And
Wow.
sitting here saying that, I cannot believe those words just came out of my mouth, but I'm not. I have no need to see it again, and I don't want to.
Just to kind of add to what
Please.
Rosa was saying, and her and I, we actually did a deep dive review on this film. Literally, we got in the door from the theater, hopped on StreamYards, and did an 1.5-hour breakdown of this movie. One of the criticisms that I had is that this movie was 45 minutes too long. And it felt like something that really should have been on Disney Plus. I felt my time was wasted. And just like Rosa, I do not want to see this film again, which breaks my heart because I loved Black Panther, the original. I absolutely loved it. And I just felt completely let down.
Before I give
I
my
understand.
little thoughts real quick, we got an early super sticker, Pong 13.
Hey,
Muchísimas gracias, Pong 13. And to all our new subscribers and friends, amigos, I want to introduce you to our deal.
when are you
Now-
gonna get that guy on, man?
Love that.
You need to have him on here one
He's
day.
too busy, man. He's too busy just living his life. You know?
I love that guy.
He'd be like Wakanda que. Now, Rosa, I'm in shock, and I'm still in shock that Coogler was completely lazy in the filmmaking of this, in the storytelling of this, in the dialogue of this. It's completely amateur. And Ryan Coogler is no amateur. So
You shouldn't
I'm
be
not
anyway.
Even, I'm not even, hold on. I'm not even talking about how I feel, right? I'll talk about it in a second. I'm talking about cinematic execution was a complete letdown. From it being too dark, I couldn't understand sometimes what people are saying, and it had nothing to do with the Noche's accent.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, it made, flat set pieces that looked like we were in a theater. I was in shock, man. I was totally disappointed just on a cinematic and storytelling point of view. Riena said something, and so did y'all did, about it being a Disney Plus. It's exactly what it was. It was a struggle of Coogler's old script pre-Bozeman, before he passed away, rest in peace, to Disney Plus getting their hands in this and trying to make it, trying to just being Disney Plus being Disney Plus. Easily, I saw like at least three different, different series in this movie. So yeah, I had major problems with this, just on a storytelling level, and I didn't want to. That did not expect that. But when I saw like one or two of the acting scenes that were early leaked, I was like, oh no, no. So yeah, just on that, guys. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on that, what I just said.
I had one thought, and it was something actually someone had dropped in my chat, that reportedly there were several versions of this script from Ryan Coogler. One of the things that I did notice watching this movie, some parts of it were so disjointed and things dropped in, it made me wonder, did he have one version of the script and the likes of Victoria Alonso or whatever said, no, you can keep that, get rid of that, you need to drop that in there. And it wound up at the end being this absolute disjointed mess. So I'm wondering How much of that was him and how much of that was Disney corporate?
Feige
Mhm.
meddling.
I don't even know if it's Feige, and here's why I believe that. Up to Endgame, you had Feige's hands in everything.
Yeah.
After Endgame with Phase 4, which I call the MCU,
Yes.
who stepped in there? Victoria Alonso.
He let her though. But you're
Either
right.
way, he did not have a choice. Right now, with the way Disney is, that's who they wanted. She came in with the quote unquote vision for what it's going to be and basically overruled him. Feige does not have the control that he used to be. And you can see it in the quality of the MCU movies ever since Endgame. It's obvious. And it just makes me wonder how much of what Coogler wanted was possibly vetoed. That's just a thought that I completely agree with what Paulie was saying with respect to cinematic execution, because it's difference between night and day, the way Black Panther is and the way Wakanda Forever is.
Well, I mean, and it's a disgrace to his legacy as a filmmaker. Fruitville Station, go and see these Creed.
Creed
And
One
the
and
first
two,
Black
three,
Panther.
one, two.
I know a lot of people didn't really care for the Black
Actually,
Panther.
I couldn't stand the first Black Panther, but it's still better. I hate that movie, and it's far better made than this.
Right, but you know, Coogler captured something that was special, and I liked it. I didn't think it was great. I liked it. But everyone, James Esparza disagrees with us. Best movie in the universe, at least since Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh, somebody's having this on there.
Cállate.
Cállate. Taking us down a little bit.
Rosa or R? Any comments? Nope.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go on. And I want to talk about now Chadwick Boseman and the T'Challa legacy with this movie. Did it respect the legacy of T'Challa in film? Did it lean in too much on Chadwick's death? What are your thoughts on that as far as what you saw? Now that you got in your emotion, that we all got emotional, now that we're past it, what are your thoughts, Riena?
I thought that, frankly, it was a disgrace to T'Challa's legacy. I felt in the beginning it honored Chadwick Boseman as an actor, but a great disservice to the Black Panther character. There's a scene during the memorial that they have where you see them beam up T'Challa's casket, which is gorgeously done. The ship takes off and he's gone. Mm-hmm. And that's where they leave it. There's nothing, they don't go back to it. They don't intersperse that as like a B story or even a C plot line. It's like he's there and it's gone. And it's like they want you to forget about him and just go on to eventually his sister taking over the role. So I didn't like that. And you all know me. I'm one of those people who feel that T'Challa should have been recast because Chadwick Boseman put everything that he had into that role, even when he was dying of cancer. And without T'Challa in this movie has no soul. And that's exactly how I felt when I was watching this. He's not there. And it just it didn't work for me. It didn't work for me. Logically, that's pretty much how I can put it.
That is very well said.
That's it. We're all giving our opinions here. Klobby.
Riena said it beautifully, and I think it does kind of disgrace him. And obviously, we can't ask him, unfortunately, and paying some tribute is definitely in order. But I don't think even he would have wanted the character to not continue. The character existed, existed for over 50 some odd years, nearly 60 years, really. And I don't know, recasting is definitely the way that it should have went, in my opinion. And not only that, we are still talking about a superhero film here, and you open it up. Certainly, you can open it up. just open it up and tell us he's missing or something. Do something else with your story. If you're going to make this film at all, and you can't make it without him, recast, or have them looking for him, have them missing, whatever it is, because you started on this movie out with such a downer. I mean, this is supposed to be a superhero movie. You could certainly have, darker moments and these things like that. But I mean, you opened it's really tough to rebound from the absolute downer and the bummer that this movie wallows in all throughout, but especially in its opener. And you got a lot of little kids that, I mean, I couldn't stand the first film because I don't think it did service to the character properly, even though I love him as an actor. But that film's inspired a lot of kids to go dress up as Black Panther, to buy the toys, all those things. This movie does nothing like that. You destroyed him in the character in the first few seconds of the film, telling everyone he's gone, and they start out with a funeral. How do you bounce back from that into what is supposed to be a lighthearted or even more serious adventure film in a superhero film? And you're showing a lot of kids that, hey, your hero's dead. Yay! Come watch now. Have a good time for the next 3 hours in this movie. Yay, he's dead. Let's have a great time. It's absolutely the wrong way to start out this film, and it just never recovers from it, in spite of all the other problems with the film. For me, recast him. If you want to make a movie without him, maybe you could have some sort of mystery where the character's gone. And by the way, you have a funeral for T'Challa. Where are the Avengers? Just wondering. Anyway, sorry.
I hadn't thought about that until this
Good
morning.
point.
Yeah. Boseman and T'Challa's legacy. How do you feel it was represented in this film?
I would say that they chose to show Chadwick Boseman's likeness on the wall, and I thought personally that it would have been a statue or something more permanent than kind of like the painting on the wall and everything. But I was disappointed that in the beginning of the film, as Clobbering said, that we're confronted with him essentially dying on the operating table in front of us. And then on top of all this, his sister is the responsible one who couldn't save him. And it's almost as if they're saying like his death was something that could have been avoided, and had things been different, he could have been saved. He can't just die, a victorious death. It's a mystery virus. And I haven't seen it. I was telling Lorena, I haven't seen mystery virus since the AIDS pandemic, when no one wanted to say that you had passed away from it. There was no reason to hide it, but it was stigmatized so much at the time that no one wanted to talk about it. Why does he have to die of a mysterious circumstances? What is the mystery surrounding his death? And why should his own sister be the person who feels responsible because she couldn't save him? So I thought in regards to the character, it was almost like a joke. They had to get rid of him quickly. Yeah. And the fastest way to get rid of him, if he had only told her a few hours earlier, and then she's struggling to kind of make it work. And I'm like, not only did they make a fool of T'Challa's memory, but they also made a fool of Shuri. She can, she's not able to save him. Now it's her responsibility to save him. So now she has to be laden with guilt. And I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm sorry, but it's just a total joke. Nobody would be doing that with their own sibling. It's not even ethical to be doing something like that. You'd have a doctor who would be separate and working on your loved one. So, that just isn't realistic to present a situation where that's how, that would happen. So then, in regards to this mystery, everything's shrouded in secrecy. Even to the end of the film, we still don't know what the hell happened. And, this isn't one of those murder mysteries where they're like, gee, we're wondering what happened to this Black man. We can't figure out how he died. We can't get the coroner's report. Nobody seems to know what the hell is going on. And I'm contacting you to find out what happened to him. It feels like that. Is he supposed to represent people who have gone missing or have had wrongful deaths? They don't know what the cause is. Is this like some kind of hidden message underneath this? Because it seems completely pointless. And this is not the T'Challa we know. He's somebody who was proud to be who he was. And he wouldn't go out like that. He would go out fighting. And we all know that. So this goes completely against everything we know about T'Challa. Now, in regards to Boseman's legacy, I don't even think they addressed it. They showed the picture. You know, we're going to make you cry because we're showing you the picture. We're going to look at it, the picture, look with us. But they didn't really address it and give it sort of something that we could find some kind of peace and closure. And that's how I feel about it.
Rosa.
Something I wanted to. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rosa. I don't want to.
No, go ahead. Finish your
No,
thought.
I was gonna ask, because someone who read the comics, and Clava, you can
Yes.
let me know yes or no on this. I heard that because T'Challa was Black Panther, he was impervious to diseases. So something like this mystery disease wouldn't have taken him. Is that true or not from the comics?
Not from any comics I remember, unless it was retcon into the later crappy stuff of the past 15 years or so. I don't think so. I mean, remember, even in that first movie, that they took that from some dumb comics. He shouldn't even have superpowers. He's supposed to be just a great athlete and stuff like that. All that stuff with this herb and garbage that they did in the first movie really annoyed me, with him getting the powers and stuff. That's some retconning stuff
in the
from
comic.
the 21st century. It's from later modern comics, or the very, very recent ones that I just didn't even touch. And I didn't like it then, and I don't like it now. But yeah, so enough. I don't really, about him being impervious, it could be something that was done in the past 10 years or so. But
I think
at
Darth
least from the movies, though, that makes
here.
sense, though.
Yeah, Darth Plato, member of the channel. Thanks for
that's right.
typing in. Wolverine was immune from disease, but not Black Panther.
Okay.
Not that I've ever heard. I mean, not that I ever remember, but can't be everywhere.
Yes, the vibrate. Oh.
At least that was suggested in the first movie.
In the in movie lore, by the way, I can buy it, even though I don't like what they did with the vibranium in that last movie. I can buy into that, considering that they were giving him the herb and all that stuff, and he had this. But you could I was actually thinking they were going to try to make the case that that's what killed him, and they didn't do it. So
I just thought that having him die from a mystery disease, was just awful. BS. I thought that was so lame. I really did. Especially considering how Chadwick went out. Why do we need that reminder? This is supposed to be escapism. Have something different, like Black Panther getting killed in battle. I can totally believe that. But this was
Yep. All right, Rosa.
And that's my an issue I have with this. The fact that they intermingled a lot of the things that Chadwick actually experienced to T'Challa, because then you cannot differentiate the movie from what actually happened to him. So in my brain, granted it's not perfect, I'm watching the movie and I'm not seeing Nakia or the Queen or Shuri grieving. I'm seeing Lupita and I'm seeing Letitia and I'm seeing Angela Bassett, and I can't distinguish none of them because you're involving what actually happened to him into the narrative. So and that emotionally it is effective. I'm not gonna lie. Did I shed a tear? Yes, I did, especially with that opening. So for me, what they did honor Boseman's legacy and everything involved here. However, I'm not I don't agree with what they did with T'Challa, specifically because we're talking about Wakanda. It's advanced in technology. It's advanced. You've saved people. You saved the Martin Freeman character in the first movie. And granted, I understand in a way, in a storytelling aspect, this would make it more tragic. The fact that Shuri is one of the most brilliant people in the MCU, yet she couldn't save him, which kind of gives you that tragic sense of it. And that's how we need to give her ammunition, right, to get upset, to be angry and seek revenge about something, which is when she has these conversations with her mom and so on. So in that aspect, I understand where it's coming from. However, it's not believable. It's not believable because it's happening in Wakanda. And like you guys said, I wholeheartedly agree. It should have been done either in battle or something that the character would have gone out doing, and not necessarily involve what actually happened with Chadwick Boseman. And I mean, in that mid-credit scene, you kind of uh, lazily recast him because you got a new Prince T'Challa in a way. So, and even then, I'm like, right, well, if you're gonna do it that way, I guess you kind of, there's no way of angering both sides in a way. Well, but still, it didn't sit well with me that you have to bring the real case scenario. And to bring it back just quickly, I won't dive into I won't go off tangent as much regarding Ryan Coogler and the script.
Go for it.
Regarding
go for it.
What you said about Ryan Coogler, I wholeheartedly agree. Because I don't think he has a lot of control over a lot of the executive decisions here, and I can, you know what, I would actually put money down that this final script is not what Ryan Coogler not had in mind, but perhaps not 1,000% what he proposed at 1st. I'm sure there was outside external elements that were involved in this.
Okay.
Probably so.
So,
Pauline, just one quick correction. I did not read the Christopher Priest run, but Rock On, I'm sorry, points out
yes,
that
I saw that.
that was done in the comic by Christopher Priest. I respect Priest. I really didn't like his run that much. What I read of it or didn't read much of it. So there you go. Thank you, Rock On. Appreciate it. So, and I hate the idea. And I remember hating the idea when I heard about it way before movies did it. Let him just be the athletic Black Panther. But
No,
Go ahead.
no. We got a fantastic panel. Over 80 people in the chat. Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hit that
Do me a
like.
favor, guys. Like, share, and subscribe to all these fine people on this panel. It was it was great to get everyone here at the same time. Okay, my thoughts on let me just talk about the Boseman thing really quickly, because if anyone stops and thinks about it, we just think about Chadwick. We're gonna swell up, right? Because he's such a beautiful actor, so many wonderful performances, and he was just getting started. I feel. I mean, he was very young, just gone way too young. One of the most emotional points of the movie had nothing to do with the movie. It was the opening credit, the roll of the Marvel credit that showed Chadwick. And
I almost started to cry.
Go.
I almost started to cry.
I swelled up. I did swell up. So, I really don't feel MCU and Coogler did him right. I'm sorry. I'm not, I especially after hearing interview after interview how much they lost their brother, and I don't doubt it. Okay, you grieved in the movie. I get it, but if I'm going to see this movie a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, just like losing a family member after that time, it'll always be there. But I'll have some objectivity from that emotional point in time, and that emotional point in time is past. And just like with anyone, any emotion that's past, in you go away from it, you have a different outlook and perspective on it. Is this movie going to have that same? Is this? And it's absolutely no for me. T'Challa, give me a break. They should have recast it. There's example after example of other characters and actors where the actors passed away. Dumbledore, boom. Richard Harris died. Bring in the other gentleman. Fantastic. So, to that Boseman and T'Challa legacy, then this movie was missing T'Challa. This movie was missing its Black Panther. At least let him go out fighting like Black Panther.
Yeah.
This unknown illness, por favor, come on, man. Por favor. I mean, you couldn't even let T'Challa go out as Black Panther. And I'm saying it very nicely, guys. I'm saying that very nicely.
Not even in the blaze of glory.
Nope.
No.
And I thought, which I thought would have been very interesting, is that he was going to be fighting Namor. Then he passes, so Wakanda thinks that it's Namor, which I thought would have been really an interesting. What I just said right there is way more interesting than what we got. And then the misunderstanding comes about. There's some sort of alliance at the end, which I thought would have been really cool to move on. But what's really cool is 99 people in the chat. Good Lord. Good to have you guys here.
Hit that like.
Good to have you guys here. I know we have a couple of super chats. Let me get through though. Arun, you wanted to say something, please.
I do have one question, and maybe all of you can actually respond to this. We saw a what if segment, which was sort of like an animated short. And that might have been the last time that we did get to see Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa.
Oh boy.
And that almost implied that we were going to get a different type of representation of T'Challa going forward, because he looked the same, and it was emotional to see him in that. I feel like that was the direction they might have been going in. Like there's a disturbance in the timeline or something to explain something more complicated to explain why T'Challa had gone. Did anybody get that impression from seeing the what if, animation? Did anybody see it, and did you get that impression?
I didn't see it.
Neither did I.
I don't remember, so I don't think. Yeah, but I'm glad you brought it up. Maybe people in the chat, if you have any thoughts on that, Klobby.
On which one? I'm sorry, I was doing some wrenching there, so I missed that.
Arun's talking about the Black Panther iteration in What If. Did you see that?
Boy, oh boy, that was the worst episode of that show I've ever seen. I was embarrassed that was the last time he would ever technically be Black Panther.
You heard him,
Such
right?
an unbelievable
That's his voice,
story.
right?
Yes,
What's
it was
his
so bad. The story was so horrifically bad, in my opinion. And embarrassing that I had to stop watching that What If show. It's the only of those horrible Disney Plus shows, and they're all horrible, that I couldn't watch all of after like the 5th or 6th episode. And that was the one. If you had to say what's the worst thing they ever did on Disney Plus, just stand out one individual story, that might be the one. And then maybe cringe. I'm like, oh God, no, don't. At least if it had been someone else doing the voice. So yeah, it just kind of added insult to injury for him. But I mean, he was a great actor. And he never got a chance to really flourish with the character for me. I loved him in Civil War. When he first appeared, that was the best. We truly got to see him beat the T'Challa Black Panther that I loved from the comics. You know, I think he got kind of bullied out of his own first movie, to be honest. That's why I have a lot of problems with it. It wasn't really about him as much. And I don't like what they did with it. And he's so, can't think of much of a better casting. I could imagine anyone a better casting in that character. So that's just me.
Oh boy. Yeah, we got a couple super chats. Have been waiting for a minute. I want to hit them, and then we'll carry on. We're here with Riena Creole, Clobbering Times, Rosa Parra from Rosa Reviews, Daily Cella. We just went over 100 people in the chat. Good Lord! Woo!
Nice.
Thank you, everyone. Please, just thank you. Okay. Charles W. Jansen II for $5 says, was this a $250 million exercise dealing with grief for those at Marvel Studios? They wasted no time recasting Thunderbolt Ross post William Hurt's death. Thoughts, guys?
True.
Okay.
It was lazy. It was just lazy what they did.
I agree. It was just like, let's just do something and say we did it, not really put too much thought in it and get it over with. It was not handled with any real respect and dignity.
If you're asking me, it seemed like a very self-absorbed. You know what? I think it was highly narcissistic. Just like
self-indulgent,
just like Disney's representation of blacks and Latinos. I don't. It wasn't genuine. Not the actors and their personal feelings. I'm
Right.
talking about what I saw on screen. So that's just me. But thank you, Charles. Valiant Renegade for $5. Member of
Hey,
the channel.
Valiant.
Yes, Larena. All these newer MCU films are corporate governed in corporate writers' room, directed and approved.
Okay. All right. That explains it. Okay.
How do you feel about that, Rosa? Do you see that it's a corporate governed and writers and directors?
Yeah. It's challenging to, particularly with the MCU, and even then, the first, what are we calling it? The first phase of the MCU, the all the way up onto Endgame. You did have Kevin Feige having a lot more control over that, such so that every now and then you would hear a director, like I believe it was Edgar Wright who was supposed to direct the first Ant-Man.
Edgar Wright.
And and they didn't like what he had in mind, so they had to get somebody else to do it. So I think so. There's a lot of outside influence. And when you do have a specific narrative that you're trying to push forward, we'll say it that way. There's things that are gonna happen that sadly the directors don't necessarily have full creative control of their work, particularly when it comes to Disney, sadly.
I did a video maybe like about a week ago, and you guys check that out. It's Quentin Tarantino's just calling out MCU and how he would never work for them. And you know what? Don't. As far as auteur directors, you've seen what the MCU has done to them. Okay? Coogler, Rodriguez, Chloe Zhao, Edgar Wright. The Russo brothers have left. They're not coming back. They're not coming back.
But also look how they're doing.
No, they're not coming back.
Yeah, tell me.
I mean, the movies they've directed after. So is it really? Did they really have control of Infinity War and Endgame? I don't think they did. I think it was Disney. It was Feige. Otherwise, because everything they've done afterwards, like Sherry or any other movies, not the best films out there. So yeah, I think that now that Feige doesn't have a lot of control over this, that's why I think he's going to the Sam Raimis, to the Chloe Zhao's, to the Ryan Cooglers, because he knows that they're talented and that they can work quote unquote unsupervised. I'm not saying the Russos are little kids or anything, they need supervision, but that they do have experience in filmmaking. They have a pretty strong, solid filmography where they don't need to be supervised and have an overhead like a Kevin Feige. So but sadly, I think there's still being a lot of machinations going on.
The Russos did have control of Winter Soldier and Endgame. I mean, I think the Russos arguably I would say have done the best MCU movies. Did they do Civil War? Anyways, I think that was the apex for me.
And again,
Go ahead.
I think they had a little control, but never like a lot. I mean, it's very similar to the comics industry itself. When you are working for a big corporation that owns these, as they term them, properties, by the way, stolen by these companies from creators. Anyway, then you're going to be definitely subservient in some respect to things that they want to do. They couldn't go crazy with them. And
so
some filmmakers don't like that kind of those restraints.
Sure. Yeah. And you talk about unrestrained. What the Russos did is they went and funded this incredible film. They've set up their own shop as far as a production company, production studios. This is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is one or two. It's either my first or second favorite movie of this year, Rosa.
It's your first and mine as well.
I love you.
That helped you.
Yeah. So there.
It's either RRR or that or this one. I just so yes to that, and thank you for your super chats. Um, the chat is just incredible right now. I see some friends in the chat. I just want to say hello to Andy Masterson, Van Helsing,
Hey.
¿Qué más? Valiant Renegade, and thanks for the
Hey.
super chats. We have a friend coming in. Before we bring him in, let us play a thank you from Mexican Iron Man. All right, I'm bringing a friend of mine. Love his channel, and he is kicking butt on it. It's Luis Leca from Nerd Report. Luis.
Hello.
Hi.
What's up,
Hey.
everybody?
Hey.
I didn't see the movie. I'm done with Marvel since Loki. It's too boring. But I just wanted to be spoiled. How many times did they say Latinx in it? Did they say Latinx in the movie?
Only 7.
No.
I think. I counted less than 7.
Took you 5 seconds to get in with that routine.
Well, because they're saving our language because our language is so offensive. You know what I mean? So they gotta switch the grammar. I mean, how dare us have an O as a gender neutral thing? It's gotta be like English. Everything.
Well,
right?
Luis,
Or am I wrong?
Hey, that's your opinion. I'm not that title
kidding.
never resonated with me. I don't use it, but that's a different argument. Luis, why didn't you go and see this? Why? I mean, this seems like right up your alley.
Because my cat's hair was not groomed, and I wanted to groom it.
Payaso.
Dude, the MCU has no stakes. Even Tony Stark died, and then 2 seconds later, he's there via hologram. You know, it's like it's not really a loss. When people die, they're gone, and I feel like there's no sense of danger. And I mean, I guess I'll catch it on Disney Plus when you lend me your code to get in, because I don't even have that. But it doesn't do anything for me. Right now, I want to watch A24. You know what? That studio. I want to watch something different. I think I'm done for a while with the Marvel stuff. I know people talk about it, but you know,
no, that because you're really into comics. You're really into. I guess are you done with DC or just Marvel?
No, because I don't feel DC's really gotten into the rhythm of anything. So I want to see them get into the rhythm of a story and see what they got, something different, you know. But I think Marvel's done. Like, who's the villain in this phase? I don't even know what's going on. Does anyone know? Who's the bad guy?
They say it's Grief.
Kang. They're setting up Kang, I guess.
I'm dead serious. That's exactly what the trades have said. The villain is Grief.
Yeah, just in the phase.
Or you can also read into it that it's the Talokans and Namor because they are very dangerous people. Which I was what is going on here?
And it's also like when the premiere happened, and then like all the Access Media were like, oh my God, it's the best thing ever, and they were making up words to compliment it. That's not fair to the movie because it sets up a crazy expectation for it. It was ridiculous. If you go back to those tweets, you know, it's always coming from. I mean, no offense, but I don't know. How would I say? White dudes, they really love this movie. People of color didn't even like this movie. You know what I mean? All the white dudes let me look at the dictionary and blast this movie to the best movie ever. And then everyone else watches it and they're like, it's okay. I mean, I haven't seen it, but that's what people are saying, and it's unfair to the film.
If
Yeah.
we were talking about who the villain is, and I'm not going to say that it's supposed to be Namor. I'm not even quite sure, but what I can tell you in this film is that I found Namor charming, and if he asked me out, I would say yes.
Fair enough.
Agreed.
Fair enough.
I would burn the world with him without a second thought.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Say that
even let
again,
him
Rosa?
finish the sentence.
Say it again.
I said I will burn the world with him if he asked me.
Mhm. He was gorgeous. I mean, it was beautiful.
So we said that in our review.
was
We're
good
just like,
looking?
yeah, we do it. I'll bring the gasoline. Let's go.
Was he better looking than Polly?
What?
That's a trick
not
question.
fair.
Was Namor better looking than Polly?
That's not
Stop.
fair.
That's the trick question.
That's not nice.
Tenoch is an incredibly dynamic actor and good looking dude. And it's very rare we have a leading man like him, which I think is great. I mean, we're kind of jumping ahead in the conversation, but
Sorry.
I think his performance is no. I think his performance is fine. I just don't like what they did with the character. I especially take great offense to how they treat him at the end, and how they're dipping into Mesoamerican culture. To me, it's almost borderline. It's a like a souvenir you're gonna get at Disneyland. It's already there. Okay, so Nerd Report, you can hang out with us if you want. We're gonna carry on because we're breaking down.
Buddy, I'm at work at Frankenstein, so I can barely hear you guys. I don't want to mess up the feed. Yeah, I work there, so come on down.
I will. I'll come. I'll see you in a few weeks.
Real quick, I can't hear you, but we have cowbells. Look. Hi, how
Luis
are you?
Leca, the Nerd Report. Oh my God, that's so cute. Yeah. Let's just take a moment of fun for a second, guys.
She was in the show.
Hi.
Look at that bag.
I know,
Look
right?
at that bag.
Look at that
I need it.
Hey, Dallas.
That is awesome.
I love that bag.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
So, guys, we can barely hear you, but you'll be at Frankenstein till 6 o'clock. Come on down. City of Industry. Love you guys. Love
you, brother.
See you later.
Okay. Peace.
Aww.
Nice.
Wow. City of Industry. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah, East side. Okay. Fantastic times we're having. I saw. Okay, let's get this. Shelly Lee, who has been an incredible new just supporter, subscriber here at the Slant. She loves Indian films like I do, Riena, and Rosa, and Arun.
Mm-hmm.
She comes in for $7. She says, "For the love of everything pure and holy, can we please have Coogler back?" Jordan Peele, go rescue Coogler from the MCU. Crying.
Wow.
I'd give him to you in a heartbeat because I don't think he needs to mess with Marvel characters. He doesn't know what he's doing. Marvel character. Take him.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for that, Shelly. Thank you for supporting the channel. And let's take a 30-second break and celebrate Shelly and Arun, and how we say Arun. Arun.
Noise. Hey, do a mariachi one.
Oh my God.
I love that so much. I love it so much.
That is perfect.
Wonderful.
You know, I have to say, Rosa, if they had tacos and mariachis in this dang movie, I would have upped my from a 4 to a 7.
They'd
or
be all
maybe an 8.
soggy though.
The music was. What's that? Say it again.
The tacos would be all soggy.
Wow, they eat. They have the food truck right there on the shoreline.
Sure.
Shoot now.
Namor's pescados, right? And then you have
tacos
the
de pescado.
mariachis.
Yeah.
Well, underwater mariachis, of course.
Yeah. True. True.
Oh my God. Okay, so one more. Fletcher Williams comes in for $1.99. He's a member of the channel. Muchísimas gracias, Fletcher. Willie, we got a membership comment. Hey panel, hey chat, hey ladies, how you doing?
Hey.
Hey.
Hello.
P.S. Polly, that's a sweet stash.
Hey.
It is real, by the way. It is real. And it is still on my person because Romy loves it to death, or else I'd get rid of it. Because I was doing it to do the
I can see you don't like it that much, dude.
I was gonna do the Ram Charan, for Halloween. But it kind of morphed into this whole thing here. We got one more membership comment. I loved your live streams, Polly, and also La Rena's and solid gold.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. Oh God, we got another one, and I don't want to. We're gonna continue our talk and bring in another guest in a couple of minutes. Another great guest, Colt Seaman for $9.99. Guys, I'm sorry. I bought 13 tickets to Wakanda Forever, but to be fair, it is for my birthday, and I want my friends to sign up. Hey, also, hey, La Reina and Arun. Long time. No see.
Hey, Cold Seaman. Good to see you, my dear. Mispronouncing your name, though. M-I-S-S.
M-I-S. Oh, Miss. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You lost me there, but that's okay. All right, we're here. We're having a fantastic talk on Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. We're now going to Wakanda female empowerment. Take it away, ladies.
Female empowerment. As if it wasn't there before. I mean, I'm being facetious when I say this, because in the first Black Panther movie, you had powerful women. You had Queen Ramonda. You had Shuri. You had what had to be the most powerful statement of female empowerment in the Dora Milaje. How amazing were they in Black Panther? And in Wakanda Forever, I want to say it's like a shell of female empowerment, because it's female empowerment at the expense, and I'll take this from one side of my heritage, at the expense of Black men. And that's what I don't like in this film. The Black men are gone. Black Panther is not there. You have a queen trying to supposedly to rule, but it fell flat. It really did feel flat. You had another female character brought in, Riri Williams, who seems to be the best at everything. Your girl almost went to MIT. I didn't, because my parents would have been bankrupt if they would have sent me. So I've been an engineering student. You don't know everything. I don't care how good of a prodigy you are. You don't know more than the professors. Let's put it that way. And it seemed like everything that she did, she could just do it. Shuri had said, my brother taught me how to do this. And Riri's like, oh, well, I just did it. There's no room for growth there. None whatsoever when it came to her. The only female in this movie that I felt was empowered, but at the same time I thought was unjustly humiliated, and that would be Okoye. We all know how much she has gone through, what she has sacrificed. And Ramonda not only strips her of her command, but then goes in on her quote unquote traitorous husband. Did she empower another female by tearing down her husband, by tearing down a black man? That did not sit well with me at all. So I would say, were females empowered in this movie? Yes, but the cost of that was emasculating their men, and that did not sit well with me at all.
All right, let's hear from Arm.
Yeah, I agree with everything Lorena said, and I think that unfortunately, while we had Angela Bassett playing the Queen, she and the entire kingdom felt incredibly vulnerable under this female leadership because the men were not there. And the reason why we felt this way is because in the previous film, there were so many Black men who were protecting the kingdom. And we always knew they would be there. It was almost a promise. And there was always some other Black man who would take the spot if someone wasn't around. So we were never left kind of without the presence of men. So the expectation, or at least the idea, that there wouldn't be a man in sight, and there wasn't a man in sight, it's absolutely preposterous that they would do this. All of a sudden, Wakandian men don't exist. They've disappeared. They're on hiatus. Are they on leave? Like, where are they? No explanation. You know, they're not off fighting another war or something which would explain it. You can't just erase half of the population in a nation and expect us to be comfortable with it. Something is wrong in the kingdom of Wakanda, and it wasn't just the loss of T'Challa. So, you know, I guess they felt they didn't want to have any men around because T'Challa was gone. What's the explanation? And then for the strong female queen that we had, the strongest character in the story, the most powerful character in the story, we lose that character. So then we're left with nothing. And we have a reluctant, you know, a very nice girl, but a reluctant leader. She doesn't want to lead. She's still in mourning. She's going through stuff. This is not the right time for her to take the helm. I think, and Lorena and I discussed it, that Okoye should have been the one who picked up that Panther suit, because she's the one who likes to fight.
Exactly.
She's the one who would have gone ahead and said, you know what, I could do that. And she would have died for the kingdom. Like, if it ended and we had lost her, we could have mourned her loss properly and said, well, she died for the kingdom, just like any other warrior would have. And that would have been more empowering. But we feel very stripped of half of the citizens of the country. And to be honest with you, I don't want to think of a world with no men in it, and I refuse to.
Amen.
So, you know, I think the men are there somehow, but they've excluded all the scenes, all the movie scenes where the men are, and they've been excluded. So, you know, it doesn't mean anything in to do this. You know, it's great to be in power, but I don't want to be in power without men around, and I don't think they want to either.
Yeah. Well said.
Okay.
Rosa.
Alrighty. I'm all in for female empowerment, for quote unquote girl power. As of course, as a woman, as a mother of 4 girls of all things. So do I want
God bless you.
my daughters to go to a movie theater and see strong women represented? Yes, absolutely, I do. Because it's representation, and that's what sometimes they look up to. It's the media. And however, do I want them to get out of films and TV shows thinking that they are better than men, that they are superior to them, that if they go one-on-one against them, that somehow they're going to win because that's what they're watching in film and television? No, it's not realistic. We are not built the same. And that's one of the biggest issues I had in that third act, which I'm sure we'll get into later on. But again, I'm all in for female empowerment. I'm not in with I'm concurring with what it was previously said with the erasure of men, because we do need them. I didn't make those 4 little kids by myself. So we do need them. Well, for more than that, right? But it's just ridiculous to me that, and I'm noticing this a lot in phase 4 of the MCU, where we're pushing this narrative that women are better or superior to men. Look, I'll say this. I've experienced child labor 4 times. It is the worst pain I've ever experienced. But if I go to toe to toe with my husband, he's gonna beat the shit out of me because he's built differently than I am, and that's okay. It's biologically how it's. There's nothing wrong with that, and I'm a little hesitant with everything, the movies and shows and these narratives that are being pushed forward that I don't agree with. So in this case, I'm okay with the type of representation that was given, particularly the Angela Bassett character. To see a strong woman sit in that throne while grieving the loss of her son, but yet having the huge responsibility of ruling an entire country, it's not easy. So the fact that we are seeing these type of representations, I'm completely good with it. It's just the other aspect that I'm having a lot of trouble with, and that third act completely threw me off. I was on board with a lot of things throughout the film, but that third act, no manches, it was
disturbing.
She and to your guys' point, I mean, in my humbled opinion, I would have rather had Nakia take on the mantle because I think she's more worldly in terms of she knows more languages. She's been around different countries, and I think she has a better sense of the world and how different civilization societies work. So I would have rather had her. She take on the mantle, but Shuri, come on.
That's a very good point, Rosa. And to kind of bounce off of what you were saying, one of the things that I loved about Black Panther is you had the Dora Milaje and you had the Jabari tribesmen. The Dora Milaje were very agile, as women are. The Jabari tribesmen, they had a lot of physical power and strength. You see M'Baku, who I'm really pissed, he only had like maybe 10 minutes of screen time in this, and he was relegated to the trope of, like, say, the dudes hanging outside the barbershop. And that's not what that particular character is. I loved the balance between the two of them. They worked together. One was not better than the other. One had a different type of strength. The other had different type of strength. And combined together, they were absolutely unstoppable. So I like that balance. And that balance in this, it's gone. It's gone from women and men have equal but different points of strength to women just have all the strength. And they just have to be like men. And that was a real letdown in this film.
What an amazing panel. What an amazing stream and conversation we're having. I want to do a couple of things. Okay. I want to thank all the beautiful people hanging out in the chat, making this just so special. Next thing I want to do is read this one super chat. Fletcher Williams, member of the channel, $4.99. La Reina is 100%. My wife went to Harvard and Yale, and she's always asking questions and mentioning how much she doesn't know. Very disingenuous, Marvel. And he said something really cool, really quickly. Fletcher said something really cool, which I don't know if he caught it. I did, but Rosa says this in No Manches is the main feeling of this film. We want to just let people know what No Manches means. Rosa.
Oh, I don't know if I know how to properly translate it, because to me, no manches is like,
well, if we're gonna curse, like, no fucking way.
Yeah, there we go.
No manches way, but because I think it's total Mexican Chicano slang. No manches. I love it, Fletcher. I love it. And thank you for that super chat. Let's get a little Cuban music in here. Here we go.
That's my grandma.
That's real footage, by the way. That is real footage of a senora like from last year. Oh, and also 32 Flavors sent me a membership message. I got a couple of them. Let me get these before I bring on our everyone's special here, but we're bringing in another special guest in a second. I think 32 Flavors told me not to get rid of my stash, and he gave me money for it. Don't you dare get rid of that huge stash. Oh, I'm missing a couple here. Nerd Report for $10 said, thanks for having me on. Oh, that's very nice. There it is. Thank you, Luis. That's really cool, man. That's really cool. And I got one more membership stream. I just want to clear the decks before. Zach's a member for 10 months. I've been told enough times that this isn't made for me, but I believe it. I found great entertainment elsewhere. Great panel.
There you go. They sure convinced me of that.
Yeah. Well, one guy who didn't shy away, but he's like a Louisiana guy. When you guys are from Louisiana, you got flavor. You got culture.
That's my dad's side. Yeah.
Two of us Louisiana
Put
guys.
that spice on
my
it.
Goodness.
But he's got an amazing channel, and he's a member of my channel. This is my boy, Valiant Renegade.
Hey, Valiant.
Good to see everybody.
Hey, Valiant.
Hey, Lorena. Hey, Rosa. Good to meet you. Clobby, good to see you, buddy. And Paulie, thanks for having me on. Yeah, and we got almost 150 people out there in chat. If you haven't done it already, please smash that like.
Yes.
So I hopefully some of my folks are going to show up here. I sent out a community chat on YouTube, letting everybody know that I'd try to pop by here and on Twitter as well. So I've been listening, working around the house today. I agree with almost everything said here today about this movie. I did get a chance to watch it. Oh God.
Yeah, give me some your overall like your quick takes overall.
Quick takes would be simply this, is that my fears were confirmed with this movie. And a lot of you kind of talked about this earlier in terms of the fact that it seems like this film was produced as more of a catharsis for the producers, directors, and writers that knew Chadwick Boseman than making a film for the audience that would be successful. And that's a bad way to start a film. I could not stand the fact that within the first 2 minutes of the film that T'Challa his character was killed off camera with a single line of dialogue. It was the most disrespectful, ridiculously stupid thing I could have possibly imagined. I mean, we all knew. I mean, we're not going to recast T'Challa, right? We've all known that for a while. But to murder the character in such a way, and I do not shy away from using the word murder because this was scripting, writing murder in that sense. To kill him with a virus or a disease or whatever the hell it was supposed to be versus how did somebody not think, okay, we're going to bring in a whole new villain to this movie? And Chris Gore, I think, said this best. He is absolutely dead on accurate with this. Why the hell would you not set up this new villain, Namor, as the guy who would get in a fight with T'Challa and kill him to set up the conflict for the film? There was no gravity towards this conflict. It was as I said in the video that I dropped about an hour ago on the box office stuff, which I know you guys want to talk about. I said this was a 2-hour and 40-minute funeral. This is not a movie that's going to engender a lot of rewatchability. And that is going to weigh heavily on the long-term box office. So I just Chadwick Boseman to me was the peak T'Challa, peak Black Panther was no doubt Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah.
I loved his charisma. Chadwick Boseman's charisma in Black Panther was the only thing about that movie that really stuck with me. Because the movie, honestly, from a story standpoint, it didn't make a lot of sense. I completely agreed with Critical Drinker's assessment of it because I didn't understand how he was already fully Black Panther, kicking ass in Captain America: Civil War, but then we had an origin story that took place after Civil War, where he had to drink the purple stuff with the purple flower thing to get Black Panther powers, but he already had them in the last movie that took place. I didn't get that. That was just me. And I know the comics kind of were, folded into that a little bit, but that didn't make sense. But the movie itself, like I said, the big enjoyable thing for me was Boseman's charisma. And I really like Letitia Wright. She's a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
I think she has a lot of acting talent, but I also agree with Chris Gore in the sense that she can't really carry a film on her own shoulders yet. Maybe in a few years she will be able to, but I thought that was a bad move. And then
let me
what
do
did they
this
do to her?
VR. Let me
What
do
did
this VR. I hate to pause you.
No, go ahead.
But we only have Rosa for 10 more minutes. We only have Rosa for 10 more minutes, and I really want to get to the next segment with her. Rosa, your thought on male representation in this one. I know you kind of already pointed it out in the female empowerment part, but what are your let's just do this. Let's just do this, because we got a lot more here. I want to give the floor to Rosa, because here are the other ones that we have left, right? Cultural significance, Mesoamerican colonial real world, and then the comic book. Well, we already got that. So really, I want to give the floor to Rosa. We only have her for a few more minutes. Rosa is besides so many wonderful things, like her day job and her being a mother of four, incredible. She also, is a film critic. So I would love just to take it from there, Rosa.
Yes. So I think I gave enough about the male representation and how it was significantly lacking in this film. So in terms of I just want to quickly discuss the cultural significance. One of the main aspects of the movie that was certainly appealing to me was obviously Namor and Talocan, and it being influenced by Mayans, by the Mayan culture. Seeing that depicted on the big screen, I'm going to be completely honest, I absolutely loved that aspect of it. And because it was very well created, because it was very well done, it deserved better. it deserved to be the story deserved to be explored more literally, and I think by eliminating some of those subplots, like the Martin Freeman character and even the Ironheart one too, we could have been able to do that. We could have been able to be in Wakanda for a little longer and to be in Talocan as well. So in terms of its cultural significance, I absolutely loved what they did with the Mayans, what they did with Namor, that throne. Oh my God, that throne, that like the Iron Throne holds nothing on Namor's throne, and I absolutely adored it. And which is why it infuriated me how the movie ended. It felt like we're presenting you with so much visual gore, not gore, but visuals and stunningly gorgeous costumes. That one thing I did love about the movie was the costumes. If that anything I have to give props is, I would not be surprised if Ruth Carter goes away with another Academy Award for the costumes in the movie. Regardless of what I thought about the story and its execution, I think the costumes were stunning. And what they do with Namor's costume, the throne, the production, that I absolutely adored, which is why I was absolutely frustrated and infuriated pretty much by that third act, by the way it ends, by the way that it made no sense to me. That we would have the introduction, that's another thing, the introduction of Namor. And I'm calling him Namor because that's how he says it in the movie, and I'm just trying to say that the way his intro is pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie. I did have fun with the way he's introduced in the movie. And however, it's just infuriating because those first two acts were solid in terms of introducing me to Namor and introducing me to Talocan, their origins, the city and everything. And for it to just go out the way it did, it was completely, I, uh, again, I'm never going to watch this movie again just because of the fact. So, I mean, for that, I appreciate the attempt, I guess, of doing that. And yeah, it's very disappointing, very underwhelming. The fact that you would give me all of this and then just end it the way they did.
If I can ask you a question, what were your thoughts on the literal clipping and taking
Oh,
the knee of Namor or Namor in the closing fight scene?
I think I would have preferred like a slap in the face or something. It would have
Yeah.
hurt less in a way.
Yeah.
It
And
was
this is after she
insulting in
was
a way.
impaled, by the way. This was after she was
It,
impaled.
Yeah.
exactly. Make them make sense.
Anything else on this film? Any curse words that you wanted to let out?
No, just to say that it's easily one of the most disappointing movies of the year for me. It's not bad. I'm not hating on it completely. It has its good qualities, but overall, it is disappointing, and I don't even think it comes near close to the best MCU movie of Phase 4. I still think like Shang-Chi is far superior than this. So yeah, no, nothing more. I wanted to love it. I ended up just being meh about it.
Well, all right. Well, we thank you, and anytime you want to head on out of here, if you have a couple more minutes, please do so. Hang out with us.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Monday?
No, sir, sounds good.
Okay, cool. Let's jump on over to box office and MCU future because Valiant's here. Is that okay with you, with everyone?
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sure.
You
I
just
guess,
dropped.
even though it's Valiant's fault.
It's always my fault.
You just dropped a video. Can you give us your bullet points and how is this movie doing this weekend? Is it breaking records? Are people flocking? What's the second weekend going to look like? I mean, are you going back with more people to watch this as my dog honks? Thank you. Take it away, Valiant.
Okay, so multi-part answer to that, right? Because it's all relative to how we want to frame that question. So in terms of how is it doing this weekend, domestically, it's doing very well, and that's not a surprise. How is it doing in terms of breaking records? I guess it depends on what records we're talking about. Now, a lot of the PR spin is going to be this weekend is that biggest November opening weekend of all time. Okay, that's great. That's awesome. Is it going to make money? I mean, because every time they come up with this kind of stuff, like biggest second weekend in October or biggest Tuesday afternoon in the second Tuesday of a month that ends in Arch between 3 and 4 p.m. and all this kind of crap, you can come up with any statistic you want to make a headline, right? And there's no doubting, as I said in the video that I dropped a little while ago, look, it's having a very good opening weekend. You can't take that away from it. That's reality. That's in the domestic market. But one of the things that I look at, especially with Black Panther from 2018, is that what a lot of people don't realize is that 2018's Black Panther was a bit of a unicorn in terms of its metrics between the domestic and the international markets. Most films, most big films especially, but particularly Marvel films, their domestic returns are less than their international cumulative returns, right? So if you take all the international markets they're exposed to, you usually wind up at the end of the day with a split that is somewhere around 45% to 48% domestic and maybe 55% international. Black Panther 2018 was flipped on its head. That was the opposite. It was $700 million in the U.S. market. It was $630 million in the international market. That $630 million included about $130 million between China and Russia, where this new movie, Wakanda Forever, will not play. So if you adjust that down, you had about a $500 million international return for Black Panther 2018 versus $700 million in the U.S. Still a great haul. Movie still made money. Movie still did well. Not denying that. If we adjust that forward to this movie today, if we look at the figures that were released, and 10 o'clock this morning or so, we started getting the numbers come out, Deadline, Hollywood Reporter. I held back the video because I was waiting for the international figures. I was waiting for Nancy Tartaglione's article on Deadline because she covers the international box office, whereas Anthony D'Alessandro covers domestic. So once Nancy's article dropped, we had the international figures. So domestically, they're still looking at the guidance of between about 170 to 185 million. I think it's going to guide probably in the 170s, towards the lower end of that target range that we talked about in the video I did, I think last week, whenever it was. Internationally, the movie opened to about 100 is going to track about 140 million this weekend. So it is tracking perfectly in tandem with the first Black Panther movie in terms of its relationship to domestic box. This is where the issue lies. It's not the domestic box office, it's the international box office. So if this movie domestically finishes somewhere between the $400 to $450 million mark, which I think that's probably its top end, right? This movie also looks to be finishing somewhere between 300 and 350 million internationally, which is going to put it right around 800 million global cum at the end of the day, I think, just like I predicted like a week ago. And so it seems like it's playing out to that. And of course, the problem with this film is it has a $250 million production budget, probably about another $150 million in global marketing. This movie needs to get to $800 million globally just to break even, just to recover what Disney and Marvel spent to make and put this movie out. So that's the problem right now. So they're going to look at this like this is a huge win in all this. And compared to other movies this year, it is. Granted. But when we look at it from an actual financial profitability standpoint, when we look at it in terms of a return on investment, Disney is they're pinching butt cheeks right now. I'm telling you. They're pinching butt cheeks. Because this movie also doesn't have the merchandise sales that the first one generated for the reasons that we've already discussed. And we know this because industry insiders from the toy industry have contacted me and WDW Pro, and we verified who these people are. These are some very high-level people. They know. They expressed their concerns to Disney long ago about them not recasting T'Challa because Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, opened up a whole new market that these merch manufacturers did not see to those kind of numbers before. Black men and their sons. That was a banger of a film for merchandise sales. Black Panther sold bananas. I mean, he was almost to like the Thor levels of toy sales, from what we were told. And I believe that. This movie, it's not there. It's because they killed the character off. They killed the commercial viability of this character with some inexplicably stupid writing decisions that we have already discussed ad nauseum. That is impacting it as well. So when you could say like a movie like Ant-Man really didn't make a whole bunch of money at the box office, but they sold a lot of Ant-Man toys. And some of those licensing contracts with companies like Hasbro and many others, that kind of pays some of those bills. That's not happening now with Wakanda Forever. They already had toys marked down, buy one, get one 50% off at Target a week ago before this movie came out. So
take a quick pause. Rosa, any thoughts on what Valiant has said? Anything?
I am not a box office expert, so got nothing to say. I'm just being enlightened by the conversation. Yeah. Valiant always but I do have to leave, guys. So it was a pleasure talking and being on this panel alongside you guys. Thank you so much for the invite and the conversation.
Likewise, Rosa. Take care.
Bye.
Rosa, real quick, where can people check out your work? What's going on with you?
Yeah,
Take care.
you can find me on Twitter. I'm there. I'm more active there, even though it's a little chaotic. At Rosa's Reviews.
Great. What's and you're gonna have
We
your
got that
review
link up.
soon? Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So we look forward to her Wakanda review, and also to what are your 2 favorite movies of the year? Go.
Everything Everywhere All at Once, and actually I have a new number 2. It's Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
What?
Yeah.
Over Top Gun?
Over Top Gun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Because she's all about Top Gun.
Love Top Gun.
So am I. I mean, okay, everyone's saying bye to you in the chat. It was a pleasure to have you. I'll talk to you later. All right.
Alrighty. Bye, guys.
Take care, Rosa.
Bye, Rosa.
Bye.
Good to meet you.
Bye, Rosa.
Have a good one.
And speaking of the chat, thank you. 200 over 200. I think we had like 215 here or something like that.
know.
Yeah,
Please
one
make sure
second.
you have hit that
Hey,
like
please
button.
hit that like
folks.
button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yes,
all
indeed,
right.
yes.
Well, fantastic. Let's go on and talk. Male representation, female empowerment. Go ahead. Let's go in the order of the ladies, and then the gentleman will be last.
Well, when it comes to male representation in Wakanda Forever, it's a huge disappointment. I love Black men, and traditionally this series has had so many incredible Black men, so many incredible actors in the series. As far as I'm concerned, it's almost as if they think it's fine to not have Black men in the film. It's almost as if they don't exist, and it feels very like it's missing something. I think just in regards to that was disappointing. One of the men that they had in the story, who I'm a big fan of, I love Martin Freeman, even he was disappointing in this. Just overall, whatever they did, they wanted to supplant the presence of men. I don't know if it was something that's directed. I don't know whether it's misandry. I'm not quite sure what the reason was for it, but in regards to male representation, it's a shame that they missed out on this very important element for this story, which clearly was lacking it and needed it desperately. So, there was no representation of males because there weren't any men really in this. And it was awkward. It felt awkward. There's no doubt about it. It was awkward. It's like something's wrong. So that's how I feel about the lack of male representation in Wakanda. I don't even think they spoke about men in this film. Now, Namor, as I mentioned earlier,
right. I was just gonna say you were all ready to
he looks
jump
wonderful.
on Namor. ¿Qué pasó? There's some men here.
Well, I mean, Wakandian men. So, but like it's not real, but what I'm saying is, relatively speaking, if we look at Namor, he looks beautiful. I think he's an incredibly attractive man. And I absolutely
listen. I put their male representation. So I'm talking about in the film.
Yes.
We even had some people in the chat saying, "Hey, just because they're not in the leads, they're strong men serving the queen, following this and that."
Well, it was hard to see them because they were kind of out of sight. But that I'm
Yeah.
not that is true. But it was kind of hard to see them. And, I am looking for the men in this film. We are looking hard for the men in this film. We love to see men. I think for any woman who likes men, that's what we're looking for. So Namor was just absolutely beautiful. I think he's an incredible looking man. I think for the female gaze, I think there's going to be a lot of women who are looking at him and they're saying, wow, this man is incredible. I don't think that was the intention in the film. I think they wanted us to be angry at him. It's impossible to be angry at a man who looks like that. He's gorgeous. Even his attitude, he has this charm about him. So I think it's almost as if we didn't really, I don't know what kind of image they were going for. I'm not going to say it's confusing, but what I am going to say is, I was very happy that Namor was there, and I want to see more of him, but I don't know whether I necessarily want to see more of this film.
Riena Creole, male representation in Black Panther, Wakanda, the different tribes, the representation of Martin Freeman representing the colonizer, and the Talocans. What are your thoughts?
Male representation. You mean in name only? And I say that very sarcastically, but in a way that's true. They didn't really want men represented, and we're not talking about the ones that you see off screen or the extras of all of that. We're talking about ones that actually have speaking roles. That's what we're talking about with respect to male representation. Now, when it comes to Namor, yes, we did have him. And I guess when we get into the cultural point, I'll tell you exactly why there is a link from my heritage to the Yucatan. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. It was good seeing him. He is a strong male figure, but he's just one. And what they wound up doing with him at the end in that third act, fighting against Shuri, they just basically effectively emasculated him. There is no way around that. From snapping the wings off of his heels, okay, that to him basically saying, I yield. Come on now. Really? That was just the first thing that got me angry. And I get angry when I go through this, because the lack of Black male representation. Okay, T'Challa is gone. M'Baku is reduced to just comic relief for the 5 or 10 minutes that he is in this movie. Okay. Riri Williams, she talks about her stepfather. Okay, instead of talking about it, why didn't you show us her with her stepfather, another Black man, taking care of his child, teaching her how to learn all this stuff? I would have had more sympathy for her if I'd had seen that part where she is interacting with her father. That's a strong male figure. Let's see. In the end, spoiler alert, T'Challa's got a son. Okay. Didn't marry his mother, at least as far as we're concerned. And yet you have another fatherless Black child in this movie. I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with that.
And Brown.
Yes, Brown. Because when the father died,
I'll get to that.
Yeah, that too. You mean to tell me, Marvel, that I should be happy with this? I should be happy with this lackluster display of how you're representing men, how you're basically trashing Black men and saying Black men are not even necessary or needed? I'm not happy. I'm not satisfied with this warmed over garbage. I'm not. And you can't make me.
And they hid the child. It's like he was a dirty secret or something. Like,
yes.
What is that about?
Yeah. Why? And we talked about this in our review. We said, why isn't it that they couldn't have brought this child out at the funeral for his father, so that Wakanda actually sees that there is hope there? And you have him basically has M'Baku as his mentor. How cool would that have been to see that? But they weren't thinking about that.
Sure. Valiant and Clobbering Times, they're both fathers. They're not deadbeats.
I'm sort of a deadbeat, but only
I'm not following that. I'm not following that. Lorena said it all. I'm done.
Okay.
I got nothing to add to that. No,
how do you follow that? That's a good point.
I got nothing. She was right. She was dead on right every point she made.
Okay.
I got nothing.
Clobby?
Absolutely. Look, I love, as someone who understands where the ladies are coming from, I would watch a movie with all lovely ladies in it and not want to see it. But if you're going to obviously have characters in there, they should be well written, or with a man or not. And by the only likable man in the thing, and he's barely in there, as you mentioned. Again, he's not comic book accurate, but still, it's kind of, or at least from the old comic, he's still, I like that actor and I like the character. So naturally, we have to reduce him to what scene here and there. And I would, he helped. Every scene he's in actually comes alive. Everyone, this whole movie did. Ladies love seeing this dude where he looks nothing like the one in the comic. His character's awful. But again, this is from the bias of loving the character and see the comic on the screen. I mean, we obviously but when we got him, he's great. Panther. We got a great Captain America in the Marvel Universe, great Thor. Again, movie great Iron Man. Take Marvel character and do this, and put him in Atlantis and change his origin all up, screw it up. He's 500 something years old now. They get everything wrong about him. So from there, it's going to be a tough sell for me to even like the guy. I admit it. So I go in with a bias. He's, again, nothing against the actor, even though he certainly doesn't look like him anymore either. Just none of that goes well with me. And I'm not liking him. I'm not liking his motivation, anything about the way he's written. Hey, Wakanda, join up with me so we can attack the surface world. I would go murder a girl at MIT for me, by the way, would you? Or bring her here so I can murder her. How about that? Everything about him is unpleasant and garbage. None of it's Namor. None of it's Subby, Mariner. And then at the end, what you said, Paulie, and what you've all said, how he gets punked like a little, I'm not going to say the word, it's just, well, you saw he was already pretty much neutered for me as a character. And yes, Martin Freeman.
You're coming in and out. So
yeah, you
could
from
that.
I thought it was just me.
Okay, thanks, Clubby.
I was gonna say just real quick.
You're really in and out, Clubby. I gotta
geek in there.
We didn't hear anything. Sorry. I apologize. Yeah. Let's just move on. Valiant.
I'm just going to say real quick for the audience's sake, what Claudia was talking about, him not looking like Namor. For those that may not know, Namor's mother was Atlantean. Namor's father was Scottish. And look, I don't per se have an issue with, okay, they decided to go a different direction. And I get it, because it really doesn't have anything to do with going Wakoso, right? It has more to do, in Disney's mind, they are trying to avoid yet another copyright termination legal engagement, right? With the estates of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. The time has passed. The clock has expired. They got into this legal fight. For those of you that don't know, the estates of Lee and Kirby were trying to go after Disney, saying, okay, well now, the legal period of exclusion has expired. We're coming in. We want to be paid royalties now for you using these Marvel characters, right? Disney has decided to effectively alter a lot of these characters by a legal definition of at least 25%. Midnight's Edge talked about this quite frequently with Star Trek and all this kind of stuff. It's the same situation. This is why Namor is now Namor, okay? And it has more to do with the fact of avoiding a copyright termination infringement issue. So they can't have him be white. They're going to make him Mesoamerican. They're going to give him an accent. They're going to change his backstory. They're going to radically alter his appearance from the comics. That is all designed to avoid any type of legal entanglement. That is the biggest factor in that decision, I promise you guys.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
so you couldn't hear me in any of that. You're probably better off if you couldn't.
Now I can hear you.
Yeah, you sound good now.
You were chopping in and out like every other word. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay.
It happens.
Well, you didn't miss anything good. You didn't miss anything profound. Go ahead, but I'm with you. Yeah.
Well, I was listening. I thought it was kind of profound what you were talking about. No, I mean Namor's character. Granted,
I was just giving fanboy wank. So.
Oh yeah, which totally makes sense because you're a comics head, which is why I always ask you. Usually, hey, if I have a comics question, I'll ask you about it because for me, I was not even aware of who Namor is. He wasn't in that universe of comics that I would collect, like X-Men, G.I. Joe, like those. He wasn't, in there for me. So the Namor that I got on screen was the only one that I knew. So I really didn't have a problem with his character per se. If anything, I just felt that it was a little too inconvenient, kind of like with the way he was basically, okay, we want you to unite with us against the surface world. Go, get this scientist so I can kill her. Because if you don't, then I'm going to kill you and everyone else. And I thought that was too simplistic. It didn't make sense. It didn't set up a true conflict.
Yeah.
For me. Also, them finding vibranium in the ocean. I thought there was only vibranium in Wakanda, and now you're talking about in the ocean
Supposed to be.
itself. So yeah, so I didn't like that. For Namor, I wanted a bigger conflict, kind of like what Paulie was saying earlier. The initial conflict was him in combat with Black Panther and killing Black Panther. That fight, number one, would have been epic to see in the first place. And that sets up very, very clear conflict and motivation. And we didn't get that with Namor, which to me was disappointing. And Tenoch Huerta isn't a great actor. And I kind of feel like, dude, I just feel really bad. You got to deal with this.
Oh my God. Everyone on this panel has been amazing. Latino slant history, over 200 in the chat.
Awesome.
All you guys in the chat, old and new people, subscribers, members, new people who disagree with us in the chat. And this is two things I want to say about that. You're always welcomed. And I want to give a shout out to the members and the friends of this chat for not going after anyone in the chat. That's really cool, man. That's really cool. And listen, you can do whatever you want, but I wanted to point that out. I think it needs to be said because there's people who are disagreeing with us in the chat and people who are agreeing with us, but no one's getting petty and fantastic. Muchísimas gracias. And I always say, keep your slant fuerte, keep it civil, keep it moving, and right on, guys. Okay. I was laughing because of value.
I know. I'm sorry. I said that right now. I meant to send you that earlier. Yellow Flash had posted that, and which is how I found it. I'm like, y'all got to see this because this is
I'll
new.
show it later. I'll show it later. Listen,
so yeah,
I want to take the center stage for a second in regards to male representation and cultural significance. Okay, this is touchy with men such as myself or Mexican Iron Man, and the reason why I know why he got set off is because we come from broken homes. We're just raised by our mothers. I mean, my father has been now back in my life, but as an adult. And that has been such a great, remarkable experience, for me personally, especially with almost now 8 years of sobriety. So I bring all that up because I truly believe there's nothing more important for a son to be with his father. There's nothing more important than a daughter to be by her mother, right? It's just study after study. It's just those are benefits. It's benefits, and then you have the family, an extended family, especially in Black and Latino families. Any tight-knit family. So, what I absolutely loved about the Black Panther was that Black identity of the father and son of this of family. Of principles, right? That was just so beautiful to see. And that's why it really was a touchstone. Yeah, it wasn't really, the best action, the best, superhero film. But that was really beautiful because it is a sore subject in Black and Latino families. You had none of that here. You had the opposite, and it was so heartbreaking. And I know that's what set Mike off, Mexican Iron Man. I know, because we fight that stereotype by being now great fathers, and Mexican Iron Man is a great father. I know personal experience. Really a big deal. I mean, Mexican Iron Man, Mike Canul, coming from the barrio of San Jose and vaulting to where he's gone in his life. That's an American dream. It's an American story. So when we see something like this cultural significance, guys, and then the Mesoamerican colonial real world, it's like, okay, if you're gonna go there, I'm really, really cautious and skeptical, but I'm gonna see it, and I've been tracking this for a while, for almost 2 years. I've known Tenoch's career since Sin Nombre. I mean, absolutely in love with the man. I mean, you guys know I've been bothering you guys the last 2 years. So this was a letdown. It's a letdown. On yeah, the Mesoamerican stuff looked beautiful. The throne, I don't know what. Okay, that was great. It was great. But Namor wasn't Namor at the end of the day. And people say, "Oh no, he's plotting. He's taking the knee for a purpose." Mamadas. He took the knee.
Yeah.
It's just mamadas. He would never tell his people to yield. They would have just wiped those guys out.
I think,
or die trying.
But let me just finish, and I'm gonna give you this.
Yes.
But at the heart of this is again another fatherless, man who whatever this makeup that they've iteration of what they think is Mesoamerican, I don't know what, and I'm just like, why? We don't even know about his father. And then in the Namor comic origin, we knew about his father. So it's very disappointing, guys, from the Black fathers and sons to Namor. So that's my take. Go ahead.
And I agree with you 100%, because what they're doing is they're depriving us of human relationships in the story. And, what we saw with T'Challa was deep human relationships with his father, and not only with his father, but with the other men in the story. And we got deprived of that. So we didn't get that level of satisfaction. Just even from an emotional standpoint, we didn't see any of it. It was kept away from us. It's hidden there somewhere. These relationships are happening. But the other thing that I was going to say in regards to Namor is that he's so charming and so charismatic. If they were going to go down this route where this man is so charming, he's so charismatic, when he invites Shuri or kidnaps Shuri, and brings her to the underwater kingdom, and then he says, here's some clothes. I want you to put these clothes on. My automatic thought right there was that he's telling you to go ahead and put some different clothes on. And as far as I'm concerned, I think we all know what that means. He's putting you in clothing that he wants to see you in. He's kind of sending a signal. You're in his palace, you're at his house. Then they have this intimate conversation where, they might as well be drinking wine together. I feel like he would have made a move on her. I think that why the hell can't Shuri be an attractive princess that somebody like Namor would want to be with such a man who has so much sex appeal?
Thank you.
I mean, you talk about being
waiting for her to put her arms around him and kiss him. Why not? Because we need to see that she has some kind of desire for intimacy too. I mean, I think that's another element. It's important to see relationships between men and women too.
Everyone saw that. Is he trying to woo her? Why not? That would have been so incredible. We have Black and Latino mixed families all over America. I mean, that would have just been sensational.
Every potential moment was missed.
Correct.
In this movie.
Very
Every
nicely said.
Flipping one.
Especially this one. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna just
I want to bring
up what we were saying. Mm-hmm. That was a very missed opportunity for Namor and Shuri to get together in that way. I thought that would have been a great thing to see. Them missing that opportunity reminded me of the missed opportunity with Finn and Rey in The Last Jedi, and that made me angry when I thought about that yet again.
Right.
You missed that.
Sure. Or even not racial, right? Jon Snow and the Dragon Queen. You know, with
Yep.
because they were adversaries,
John
and
and
they
Daenerys.
that was just so amazing when they hooked up.
I love that.
Oh my
I
God.
love that. Dag on it.
I mean,
I
come
did.
on now. Come on now.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to bring up this comment and K Tagore. I love the Talocons framing Namor around the Mesoamerican heritage gives a contrast to Wakanda, as Wakanda has never been colonized, but Namor has seen the destruction of indigenous people. I have no problem with that, right? I've been looking forward to that, but it doesn't make a great film. Okay, that's all I'm saying is I can't love a film if it's a bad movie, bad storytelling, but it's got representation. That would be disingenuous of me. Also, too, there is a plot hole there that you can point out when he sees the destruction of his indigenous people, and he doesn't take the indigenous people with him. As a kid, he burns down the hacienda, buries his mom. There's no little scene where it's like, come on, come with me. I'm like, what happened to those guys? And the truth of the matter is,
nah, it'll be fine.
Mayans didn't just disappear; they're still with us. Maya people are still with us. In large part, in large, but
sorry,
Kay Tagore, I really appreciate your comment. All right,
yeah, I'm just going to add something to that a little bit, because they decided to go into this direction with the quote unquote destruction of the indigenous. Again, for people who do not know, I'm a Creole, which means my family has been in the Caribbean, Louisiana, Florida for over 450 years. Okay. Part of my background is Mesoamerican from the Yucatan. Okay. When they show that scene at the hacienda, and it's quote unquote just the indigenous being driven as slaves, here's something to remember. During that time period, there were African slaves in Mexico too. So if you're going to go that route, you need to be historically accurate with that route. When they talk about the quote unquote conquistadors, not all the conquistadors were white. Some of them were Afro-Spaniards as well. Again, if you're going to go that route, you need to be historically accurate, because if you don't, it's just propaganda. And that's another thing that made me angry. I thought I was going to get to see something accurate, and I didn't.
All right. Well, this fantastic conversation. Still over 200 people in the chat. All these likes, all this conversation going on.
Glad we haven't bored you to death.
Well, I mean, honestly, we've gone through all our segments: film and story, Bosman T'Challa legacy, female empowerment, male representation, culture significance, Mesoamerican, colonial, real world, comic origin, and the box office. So, I think we could start to close it up by kind of just giving our kind of overall, review of this film, and anything else maybe that has come up in this conversation that you'd like to bring up. So it's open right now as far as
if we
everyone
continue
here who would like
see
to begin.
films like this where we don't have normal relationships between people, between men and women, between women, between men, if we continue to see films where it's devoid of any real human contact or intimacy, the films are going to continue to feel very soulless, like what you said, Lorena, and Valiant. We're going to be missing out on those moments, people sharing very important experiences. And we're just going to be left with kind of, a blank story that doesn't really mean anything in the end. We need to have those types of moments represented in a story, and where interactions between people are realistic, that can actually happen, something that we can believe. If they continue to give us stuff that's unbelievable, devoid of emotion, devoid of any kind of feeling, doesn't really mean anything, we just walk out, just feel like we wasted 2 hours, in this case, 2 hours and 40 minutes. So my final thoughts are that we need to have a shift and get those experiences back. That's what makes you feel good and want to go behind a character. So I think that was maybe one of the biggest things this movie missed for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone.
I was let Riena go ahead.
I've pretty much talked about a lot about it, but this
Feel like I'm
movie,
talked out.
God, I really am in a way, because I'm just insulted that Marvel just decided to put this out there and expect that we should be happy with it. I'm not happy with it. I'm insulted by the way that Black men are portrayed, the lack of Black men that are portrayed, the lack of a universal story. Because Paulie was saying earlier, and Valiant was saying earlier, in Black Panther, the original one, that dynamic, that father and son dynamic is universal. And anyone could relate to it. It's just like, yeah, it's predominantly Black cast, but guess what? There's a story in it to it that everyone can relate to, and and rally around. And it wasn't in this movie. Again, I think when I initially rated it, I said a 5 out of 10. I was going to give it a 4 out of 10, but I'll be honest, the reason why I got a 5 out of 10 is because Tenoch Huerta is hot, and I actually like seeing him. That actually made getting through this freaking movie.
Wait, question him or Momoa?
Oh, Momoa, shoot.
Okay, I'm just checking.
That's not fair.
No, it's not.
It's not.
I knew what she was going to say, but I had to throw it at her.
Only because I've met Momoa twice. That's the only reason why.
That's like Gal Gadot or Rachel Ziegler.
Yeah. It's like,
Rachel's cute and all, but that's Gal.
But yeah, I don't ever want to see this movie again. If you like it, that's great. You like it, you love this darn movie. If you love it or if you like it. Me personally, I don't want to ever see it again. And I am done with Marvel movies as a fan after this. I'll be a critic, no problem, but not a fan of Marvel anymore after this with their movies. Mm-mm.
Okay,
and that's it for me.
Mind me one bit. What?
Because you just saw this, right? You saw it last night.
I watched it yesterday.
You saw it last night?
While I was at my office.
Yeah, I saw it Thursday afternoon. Herm and I both saw it Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
I've been asking the question for some time. What is Hollywood's problem with men? What is Hollywood's problem with traditional family stuff, traditional human relations? And more recently, and again yesterday, when I posted a screenshot on Twitter of this horrible thing they did to Letitia Wright, the way they made her look, especially in that final scene. And I said, my God, why does Hollywood hate women so much? And then it dawned on me, because I've been asking that question way too much more recently. Why does Hollywood hate women? Why are we accepting the fact that, other people are getting involved in women's this and that and the other thing and winning trophies? And it's like, wait a minute. I thought we were supposed to be championing women's sports and this kind of thing. And then it hit me. I'm like, they don't care about either of us. They hate the traditional definition and the differences between men and women equally.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot stand the fact that biology and science to them are just incidental problems. The differences in human relationships, incidental problems, right? Everybody's just the same thing no matter what. And we need to make it like that. And on the surface, that kind of sounds nice and fine and cool, but then you realize that it's the differences between men and women. It's the differences with how we interact with one another that actually makes society healthy and functional. And we need that. But Hollywood has just, their head is up their ass. They have no idea. And this is why we talk about like a movie with this, where every freaking moment is missed between interpersonal human relationships, right? Men and women, y'all brought it up. I'd kind of forgotten about that. It went right over my head because, frankly, the scene was so freaking bland that I didn't give a shit about it. When you've got Shuri and Talokan sitting there having that conversation, and it's like, yeah, wait, why didn't he seduce her? Why? That should have been right where that damn thing went. It was just another. It's because They're trying to establish this thing that, like, well, none of that matters, right? She's a strong woman, quote unquote. And he's, I guess, by the end of this movie, a beta male cuck, right? So I don't understand it. This is where Hollywood keeps missing the mark. This is why movies like this do not get the rewatchability that they need to be profitable. Getting back to the business side, they don't care. I don't think they just do not care about actual human relationships anymore. They're trying to drive a narrative. This is their bubble. This is what they believe, and they have not yet figured out that the rest of the world out there, the rest of America, looks at this and goes, "The hell am I watching?" I just think they're lost. They're clueless. And a lot of these movies are being governed, like we talked about earlier, with just corporate writers' rooms. You know, yeah, we're going to hire Ryan Coogler. Yeah, we're going to hire Sam Raimi. Yeah, we're going to do this and that and the other thing. But at the end of the day, this core group, just like the Lucasfilm Story Group, kind of in charge of everything. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how creative a person that they get, it's going to go through them, unless you're like a Jon Favreau. Oh, by the way, is Jon Favreau still making movies for Marvel anymore? No. I wonder why. Because we've seen it shift into this kind of crap. They can hire some big headline names because that's going to put more butts in seats when you can say that this movie's directed by blah or written by blah. But it's not really, right? They don't have the carte blanche they're supposed to be their quality storyteller selves. So that's it.
All right. Let's start hitting up the chat a little bit. And Clobber, I'll get to you in a second.
All right.
Michael Barrett says, "Thank you for these thoughtful criticisms. I appreciate you all not merely tearing things down, but rather calling folks to build community, connectedness, and respect for human dignity." Very nicely said. I would add to that, and I've said this I say this all the time. Do not look towards Hollywood, especially MCU in its current state, to be role models for your kids. In fact, you, Michael, you Valiant, you Clobby, you Rosa, you guys are the superheroes to your children, day in, day out. So that I know it sounds a little corny. Gets it done every day. You guys are the heroes, and ladies, you're heroes as well to your as aunties and all the Wait a minute, what am I talking about? We know. Yeah. Okay, let's go on. Nicole Michelle, $9.99. Love this discussion. Glad I found your channel. New subscriber.
All right.
Yay. All right.
Let's. You know what, we need a little musical break here, and this is for you, Nicole. One of my favorite songs, and I saw these guys playing it on the street, and I had to record these guys. Where is this? Here we go.
Cuando canto la bamba yo estoy contento porque yo me acompaño, porque yo me acompaño con mi instrumento allá arriba y arriba, allá arriba y arriba, bamba,
Bamba,
bamba.
bamba. Willie the Monkey King's music channel of doom. What a
Willie?
For $5, he's a member of the channel. Someone in the chat, that someone is Alan Ning. Alan is from Film Thread. He's here in.
Hey, Alan.
Here in the chat.
Hey.
I missed it.
All right, big fan.
He had asked a good question on whether you think Marvel ever tried to honor Latino heritage in Wakanda forever.
I would say that they tried. They could have, I think, tried a little harder. I will say one of the misconceptions about Latino heritage is thinking that it's all the same. It's like one big same cultural mass. Like people will say Black culture. That's not all one mass. There's different facets of it. So I would say they tried, but to me, it just seemed, and this is just me, it just seemed kind of superficial. Not saying that they're wrong. I wanted them to go much deeper than that, and I really don't feel that they did. But that's just me.
Anyone else? Clobby? Lose Claudia.
Is he still with
I
us?
wouldn't know much about that.
You had something else you wanted to say
I
before
don't
that.
think they didn't see anything particular. Not thinking anything in.
We can hear you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You had a thought about something else earlier.
I don't understand it. I rebooted and everything. So go.
Oh,
he must be still getting delayed on.
Yeah. Why don't you pop out and pop in?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna move you out. Sorry, my friend. Okay, so on what La Reina Creole said in this current example, right? They're using a specific indigenous kingdom, the Mayas of the Yucatan. The Yucatan is the southernmost point of Mexico. Okay, as part of the human origin of Namor and his people. I guess this mysterious plant that they eat makes them not able to breathe the air and they have to go submerge, which I did not really like. It sounded a little bit like Wakanda, but okay, whatever. So it is very specific to a certain indigenous kingdom, which is even within the Mayas, they had different kingdoms and different tribes at different times. For me, yeah, it was pretty, it was cool. I don't know what else more to say. You know what? I did love it when they just spoke Maya. I thought it was very powerful.
True.
I thought when Namor spoke in Maya, it was very menacing, and it goes back to what I had thought about as far as actors who are from a different language acting, performing in English. It's really, really if you're not proficient, it's incredibly difficult. This is not a slight on people with accents. I'm talking about an actor communicating on a on a fleshed out third dimensional character. Can they do the same thing if it was in their own language? When you see the noche where the act in Spanish, it's lights out. I didn't get that gravitas when he was speaking in English, but when he was speaking in Maya, that was powerful. What do you guys think?
I like that, actually.
I thought it was cool. I mean, I can't really speak to the cultural impact white is can be.
Yeah.
So, but I would imagine so.
I think it sounded cool, and I think that this is, I know we talked about it before, but it's a missed opportunity. One of the biggest and most the biggest tribute of all would have been to really see the underwater kingdom correctly. And we could have been wowed by what they did because we know they worked really hard on that, but we couldn't see it and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Klobby, you back with us?
Yeah. Yeah, you hear me at all now?
You hear great. You sound great now.
Yeah.
No. Oh.
Oh man.
Well, I'm your.
Lose him again?
Yeah. No, still no good, huh?
I keep fading in and out.
Way it goes, I guess. I'm not sure what it is.
Okay.
Tried several times, so.
Sounding good now. You have any thoughts, my brother?
Oh, really? No, I mean, if I sum up, I just think the movie is a crashing bore. And it's terrible that they had such a weak story and horrible characterization. And sorry I didn't get a chance to weigh in a couple times. I don't know what it is. It could be a technical thing on my end. I thought I had it fixed. And I do apologize, everybody, for that. But it was, it was a foregone conclusion what my view was going to be on it anyway. I would point out that Ryan Coogler should not get a pass for his last film either. You talk about the problems with fathers and such. In the first movie, look what he did to T'Chaka. Turned him into a horrible person after being a good person in Civil War. So, it's in his MO as well. But when you sign on to work for a big soulless corporation, they're going to kind of tell you what to do anyway. And this movie's got corporate crap all over it. And just using it using it for a pilot for Riri Williams to just water down everything. I don't just Sorry about the technical issues, folks.
It happens.
I'll get them sorted out.
No worries.
Yeah, you know, I did want to say this was pretty cool.
Only to me.
This thing when they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the sun, right? And the Aztec calendar that ends in the fifth sun. We're people of the sun. You know, it was nice. It was cool. There was cool, you know, connections to that, right? And I loved it personally. But does that make a great superhero film? At the end of the day, we're talking about a superhero movie. You know, okay, let me.
Exactly.
We had a membership chat from Brandon the Anime Guy. He's been a member since we began. Hail to the leader of the slant, the chat, the wrenches, and the panel. Hashtag Wakanda never, based upon your friend Mexican Iron Man rant. Hashtag Duck Disney.
It's not wrong.
Wow.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
We got another super chat. Keep the Thoro comics for $5. Thank you. Disney and Marvel is relying on banking on Chadwick's death in this movie. They knew the movie wasn't going to live up to its expectations. They've had this movie for a while, and that's why they were doing reshoots up until June. The Notch said in Spanish on a Spanish radio station that he was still filming. That was June. That's not good. What do you guys think?
Well, it's better than Rise of Palpatine, where they were still reshooting 3 weeks before the damn thing opened.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen that.
Oh, you didn't miss anything.
Don't wanna.
Yeah. That's a nightmare, that movie.
You should keep it that way.
Yeah.
I plan to.
Any thoughts on this? Disney banking and marketing off of Mr. Boseman's passing?
I think that it was just that picture was the thing they wanted to hit you with, right? They because they wanted you to see the painting of his face. So you're kind of hit with that. And like I said before, it was okay. You know, it wasn't a bad rendition of Boseman, but you know, it was meant to spur an emotion in you. And I think that they got what they wanted in regards to that. And they can just say, well, we put this picture up and look at how, you know, how memorable that is. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't want to be like kind of in memoriam on a painting in a wall, which someone can just paint over. It didn't feel like we needed something more tangible and more permanent and maybe perhaps more memorable for him. And the movie was marketed as advertised. It was what they said it was going to be. I don't know whether or not, because they used that particular segment in the trailer. Mm-hmm. And so maybe that was like the highlight of the film. That was supposed to be the hook to bring you in. But, you know, everything else I think went downhill from there. Mm-hmm. You know, they just thought about, well, we're going to have a picture of him in here. As if we would even need a picture to remember Chadwick Boseman. The man is unforgettable.
I think, and to kind of piggyback onto what Hurton was saying, I think that because of Chadwick's death is kind of the reason why this movie was so lazy. It's like, what do we have to do? We already have Chadwick's death. Guess what? Let's just use that, make money off of that, and people are going to see it for that particular reason. So,
okay, let's spice it up here. JP Coleman, can't believe you guys are sitting here dumping on a movie that's initiating the intro of a people being marginalized in this country. JP, absolutely disagree.
I don't know what he's talking about.
I completely disagree. And can I say this? Even if I am quote unquote marginalized, as you say, that doesn't mean that I should sit back and accept a half-assed movie, which is insulting to me. I accept no one sloppy segments. No one should.
Yeah, JP. I mean, that, you know, what does that mean? See, that's the problem with a religion of cult of representation. Just because I want representation. Doesn't mean I'm not. I'm still I still have standards. I want a great movie. We're talking about entertainment, and I'm paying for it.
Yes.
And
Well,
also, too, JP, I don't need as I said before, families are way more important than this film. Go ahead.
When is
Well, I was just going to say real quick, JP has a follow-up comment to that in the chat
yes,
because
yes,
I
yes.
was going to ask, I don't understand the introduction of a people that are marginalized in this country. I'm curious to specifically who or what he's referring to.
yeah,
And
Because I don't understand.
what
When-
do you mean by marginalized?
And-
That's the other thing that I'm going to ask.
And when does the introduction to not being marginalized stop? Because we had, let's say, if it's the Wakandians and they're marginalized people, or let's say it's, people of African origin and they're marginalized people. We saw that in, technically speaking, in Black Panther, and then we also saw T'Challa in a few movies. So how many films does it take to a point where the introduction is over?
Yeah, and these aren't the first two films ever to feature, Black and Latino actors. I just don't understand. I don't understand. It's like when Marvel went out with this is the first Black-led. I'm like, dude, Blade, bro.
Blade,
Wesley
give me
Snipes in the 90s was freaking awesome.
Directed by a Mexican. If I could, answering that, JP, I take umbrage to this because I've been getting a lot of this in my comments from people. Hey, you should be thanking Ryan Coogler for casting Mexicans in his Black film. Do you think a Mexican or Latino director has done the same? And I put examples in my reply. Yes, we have done that. Not that it should matter, but it's been done. So I think it's I think this is kind of like a low level, kind of like a sucker punch, or you're baiting me on. But if you let's say you're sincere, and you know what, you're sincere, JP, and I do appreciate this. Do y'all think a director in a Latin country would have included Afro people in one of their films in such a prominent way? Well, let's bring it back to U.S. American entertainment, right? There is a show called This Fool on Hulu. It's a big hit. Just got greenlit for a second season. Latino created, Latino comedy, huge African American influence and characters in the show. That's hilarious. And it's set in South Central, where Latinos and Blacks live and go to school and all that stuff. So yes, JP, there's example after example, and I've shown that. So we got to stop this. This thing. I was like one of the first to like be excited for Coogler's vision. Okay, but am I saying like, Latinos, we got to do the same thing? It's been done, and we can't get bogged down in this tribal. Well, hey, we did for you, you do for us.
I don't know.
I
If it's
appreciate
tribal,
that,
Paulie,
JP, but yeah, there's examples there. Go ahead, you guys. I'm sure you guys got something.
I was just gonna say real quick. One of the things that I have always heard so many times, that the older I get, the more true I think the statement is that too many people, especially, and I'm sorry, the younger generations out there, believe that history began the day they were born. And, it's like they don't realize, like, you look at this, media is telling you, this is the first time, half that shit is lies, or most of that shit's lies. This stuff has been done before. I mean, you had Academy Awards going out almost 100 years ago now for movies like Gone with the Wind, and for Song of the South. We discussed before that Black actors in those movies were celebrated, and kind of it built a legacy for them in Hollywood back then. But to listen to Hollywood today, you would think that a Black person has never been in a film before, or a Latino person has never been in a film before. And this is the first time ever that we're going to put a Black person. I'm like, here's the bottom line. Can you white liberal sums bitches in Hollywood just ever shut up and stop telling the world how racist you are and how stupid you have been? The rest of us out there have gotten past this a long time ago. You people look like idiots. That's it.
Also,
That's good. Go ahead, please.
There needs to be this kind of halting on trying to guilt people into doing things. Like, if you don't go to see this film, you know, then there's something wrong with you. We're going to guilt you and just make sure you buy a ticket.
There's something wrong.
If you don't like it, then there's something off. No, it's not true. It's perfectly fine to like or dislike something, and you shouldn't feel guilted into doing something that you didn't really want to do in the first place. And people shouldn't feel pressured to constantly ask someone, what do you care about? What's important to you? It doesn't matter if you care about nothing. It is your personal and private business. Go about your day worry-free.
Okay, we have a couple of comments from members really fast. Want to get through it, and then we'll wrap it up. It's Courtney. Been a member for 18 months. Wow. I remain a member of this channel for a reason. Latino Slant is the place to be. Great membership perks. Just letting you all know. Yeah, you're not wrong, my love. Good to see you, and I hope you're doing well. Brian McCann, been a member as well for over 4 months. MCU. Oops. I said it.
It is what it is.
Should have used Kukulkan character in Marvel Comics, which does exist. Underground City 2, not Namor. There you go. There you go. And
that's what I call him, not more.
Not more. Yeah. I like that.
Okay. And then we do have 2 new super chats. Thank you. Tennille, 89.
Hey, buddy.
For $5.
Hello, Tennille.
As someone who has no investment in the MCU, for me, the most glaring difference is that Chadwick had charisma. This cast does not. They're at best quirky.
And blame the writing staff for that, right? I mean, these people may be far more capable actors than they have been allowed to be in this film. And Paulie's talked about the gentleman that plays Talakan at length. Great actor, right? But you hand an actor a bad script, there's only so much you can do. And you know, God bless Angela Bassett, because she was the only thing in this movie that
I feel so bad for her.
God damn, you ain't kidding.
She got out quick.
Man.
That's painful.
She is great.
Just take me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, for me, yes, but Lupita, I could watch Lupita do anything. I was like, oh my God, she's so incredibly gorgeous and smart. And then when she started speaking Spanish and then going into Yucatan, Maya, I was like, oh my God.
That outfit was hot.
Oh, yeah,
that outfit was hot, wasn't it?
We're not even going to talk about outfits. I mean, we're missing.
Oh my!
But seriously, this is an Academy Award winner, and you didn't take advantage of her and Angela. Just let them. If you're gonna do this, right, write it for those two. And I like Leticia, but she's just not a lead actor. Just didn't have it for me.
But
she needs time.
We all acknowledge that these are beautiful, sexy women, but that was not addressed. Their sex appeal, their attractiveness, and the effect that they would have on the people around them was kind of brushed to the side, ignored. They don't have sex appeal. They're not attractive. They don't interact with people in a normal interaction. We can just ignore that even exists.
Tennille comes in with $5 more. I've used to joke with Valiant already. I've used this joke with Valiant already, but it remains true. MCU evidently now stands for Disney's continuous underperformance.
Yeah, I think he meant Marvel's continuous, but yeah.
Marvel, got you. Yeah, Marvel.
Right. I think he came out of Disney's, but yeah, you're right. And by the way, chat, you're 2 likes away from 200.
Well, we can get that. Come on now.
So, not to mention the fact, and I know because when I'm on stream, I don't look at this because there's no way I can. It's impossible. I think, Paulie, you've picked up about 50 new subs since you started.
I mean,
looks like.
Hey,
so congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, brother. I mean, and everyone, the community is great. I think in the last couple of days, it's been nuts. and I say that in a good way.
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us. Oh, Rosa reviews.
207. That went fast. Thank you, chat. Just keep. If you hadn't hit it, you keep hitting it. I mean, you can get a 250.
Get
Shit.
that.
So
our girl Rosa, I mean, did you guys not love having her on here?
She was awesome. She was awesome.
Zola,
Sweet lady. Absolutely.
and 2 movies, Zola and Judas and the Black Messiah. Both directors are Latinos, Afro-Latinos. Breaking news, Latinos can be black. Latinos aren't a monolith.
yes, they are Latinx. That's what they tell me.
Get out of here with
That abomination.
I'm from Louisiana. I spent 14 years in school taking French. And it's another language that has masculine and feminine counterparts. So that's why,
that's what tripped me up learning that language. I'm like, what do you mean? I got to learn masculine and feminine terms, and some words are masculine and some words are feminine. By the way, oh God.
And yes, we used to talk about in class what is the gender of the word.
Right.
Yep.
Listen.
And it's a binary.
Oh
shit.
Canceled by YouTube, Mama Susan. Listen, Romy Diaz, the love of my life, and she's gonna host a animal shelter stream this Wednesday, and everyone here is invited to come on.
Thank you.
She is Brazilian and Portuguese, right? She considers herself a Latina. I consider her a Latina. She speaks fluent Portuguese, Spanish, French, English.
Wow.
Woman to my heart.
Wow.
Portuguese is a rough language to learn too. That's amazing. Yeah.
Which one?
Portuguese.
Well, that's her. Yeah. Well, that's her family, right?
Okay.
This beautiful black family from Cameroon just moved like 2 doors down. What do you think they're speaking to each other in? To Romy?
Portuguese.
French.
Oh, dang it.
Wow.
And I'm like double taking because I'm like, I'm jealous. You speak French too fluently with.
Oh, you said Cameron. I'm thinking Congo. Sorry.
I might have the country wrong, but they just, they're such a beautiful, sweet family. But they're hanging out, speaking fluent French to each other. I mean, get out of here. I was all jealous.
That was like my mother's family, but Cajun French. Like
yeah.
Louisiana.
Ooh, that's a different animal.
It's very. I mean, when I took French. I mean, most kids down here in South Louisiana, you took French, but you were learning Parisian French. But the reason you did is because obviously the Creole French, the Cajun French, was a tangent of that. So if you could learn to speak proper Parisian French, you could pick up Cajun pretty easy. But it was always really fun going to the big events at my mom's family down in Thibodeau. So because it's very Cajun.
And the bayou.
Yeah.
Solomon Thornton for $5. I'm 23 years old, and I know that Blade is the first Black Marvel film. Epic film, by the way. Love you guys.
Yes. Blade is awesome.
That was great.
Yeah. I can't remember the man's name. Wesley Snipes' body, his conditioning, and Paulie, I know that you practice the martial arts. The conditioning of a man who practices martial arts is very specific. And I don't always see actors that have that type of conditioning, but he continues to have it. That's something, and I know he's very talented as well, but it's something that I always noticed about Wesley Snipes, and that made the character more believable for me.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. It's Courtney, Fellowship of Oddballs. Sent me a PayPal. Thank you, sweetheart. I'm so excited about these chat numbers, Polly. Happy weekend to you all. Much love. Igualmente, I'm sending you love right back, my dear. Yeah. This is seismic. Yes, it is. Yes. And if it wasn't for the teachers who broke the mold from Japan and from China, who said we are going to teach this to Westerners, we wouldn't benefit. Valiant and myself were martial artists as well. They didn't want it to be taught to Westerners, but this is a great example of cultural appropriation in a very human level. This is this goes beyond. It is a way of life. Pizza is life. Yes.
I agree with that.
It is good. Yeah, it's good.
It's life.
Okay. Oh yes. I just want to make sure. Did I get everything, guys? I think so. And one little super chat, big in my heart. To Neil for another $2. Forgive me, autocorrection and didn't read before sending.
We knew what you meant. It's okay.
We know. No, yeah.
Good.
Well, my friends, I think we answered questions in the chat. I think we took on some stuff that we didn't exactly agree on. Is there any closing words as we wrap this incredible chat stream up?
Yeah, you're like 20 subs away from 3,900. So if anybody's watching that has not yet subscribed to Latino Slat to Paulie's channel, please smash that subscribe button right now. Get him to that 3,900 mark, and hopefully, like in the next month, we'll be doing the 4K celebration stream.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Lorena, I'm really getting back into fighting shape, and I remember I called you out and said you had to be in like some Brazilian outfit when you hit your 3K. Was it 2K or 3K? I can't remember.
It's 3K. I did that one.
I know. I'm thinking I need to reciprocate,
Brazilian outfit, some bitch. I got makeup, drag, and a cheerleader outfit with fake titties on for her 2K stream.
Oh man, that was a great moment.
Pictures are still out there. I hate all of you. My daughters were all too happy to do that to me. I said, "Okay, Daddy needs to look ridiculous." And I had my daughter's high school Letterman jacket for dance team, a fake wig from our theater closet. My wife runs a music school. In fact, I've got another performance tonight I have to go run tech for. And yeah, makeup, lipstick, eyeshadow. I'm like my 15-year-old went a little too batshit on that one. But
it was perfect.
Yeah, I know everybody loved it.
Perfect.
Think about it, Lorena. Think about it, chat. What do you want to see me dressed up as for the 4K? I don't know where we're at.
4K.
2K, YK,
EK. I'm selfish. I'm gonna say like Antonio Banderas from the El Mariachi.
Ooh, I love that.
That's a classic.
Love that movie.
You want me to get like a long-haired wig, like a man wig, whatever it is?
Oh heck yeah! The whole thing.
The whole Chato look.
The whole thing.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, there you have it, guys. I'm gonna go a full desperado, and Willie for $2. Thank you, panel and chat. This was a good show. I would say this was a great show.
I love the next super chat. I love that.
Polly is Mexican. Heisenberg. Who's Heisenberg?
Dude, seriously?
You never saw Breaking Bad?
Oh no, I didn't.
You never saw Breaking Bad?
Oh my God! What?
Wow!
I'm out of here. Piss on me.
You gotta see that. Granted, I didn't finish the last season because just life got ahead of me. But man, Breaking Bad is off the chain.
Zorro.
Oh man,
which one is
I was thinking
Heisenberg? And
Zorro,
thank you for the
too.
$2. Which one is Warrior of Justice? Thank you. Which one is? Is that Bryan Cranston's character?
Yes, Bryan Cranston, Walter White.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
Walter
his.
White. No,
Yeah.
Walter White. I know, but did he have a goat? Did he have a big
Heisenberg is his
It's the hat you're wearing.
transaction name with
and
the hat. Yeah.
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 It's the hat and the mustache and the
Heisenberg.
whole.
Got
yeah.
you.
Say
so
my
Heisenberg was
name.
a pseudonym.
Yes, that
Like
was
in a-
his code name.
Yeah, like his code
Oh,
name, acquired
gotcha.
name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. Okay. Well, this for all the chats, for all the super chats, and money coming in, and love, and all that stuff. Mexican Iron Man salutes you. Well, I think that's it, guys. Why don't you guys let people know where you're going to be, and I will excuse you one at a time, if that's cool with you. Let's start off with Clobber Times.
Well, thanks for having me. I hope you can hear me better now, buddy. I'm gonna in a couple of hours. I'll be over at my good buddy J-Man's channel reviewing this very same movie, and then a couple hours after that, I'll be on my channel doing Saturday Night Star Trek at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time for that. So with Raquel and tomorrow night on Monday, on Mark D with the C's channel, our good buddy, will be geeking out at the Geekery at 10 p.m. Eastern. And Monday night we'll have on Clobber Times to do a tribute for the late great loss we had yesterday, the great Kevin Conroy, the one true voice of the Bat. What a loss that was. I mean, what a week. Ugh. Man. So there we go.
Hi, everybody. You can find me on my channel, Positive Fandom. I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't know I was next.
You never know. You gotta be ready.
Positive Fandom, guys. We're on Sundays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have my Sunday brunch show where we do all the parlay in the fandom. If you're a creator, come to the show. We will promote your show, anything that you're doing. Do check it out. On Monday nights, Lorena and I will be on the Post Geek Singularity channel, Robert Meyer Burnett's channel, for our show, Ladies of the PGS. So do check us out at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes you can find me on the 1/6 Scale Man Network, either on Say What or Uncivilized Scoundrels on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Lorena and I also do another show on her Twitch channel called The Toxic Male Appreciation Show at 5 p.m. on Thursdays. On Fridays, you can find me on Midnight's Edge in the morning, guys, at 12 o'clock in the afternoon with Tom and Andre. And you can always find me on the PGS with Robert for our Midnight Musings show on the weekend. And thank you, everybody, for your support. And thank you for letting me be on this panel, Paulie.
Thank you. And Valiente Renegade.
Sorry. Valiant Renegade Jr. was texting me just now saying that the fish that slipped one of our hooks a few weeks ago showed up on the bank. This is at a family member's pond. And he's telling me, it was 60 pounds. That's why he broke it off. And he's sending me pictures. And I'm like, you're terrible with judging weight. So, yeah, he's still texting me. My ear, ding, 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 as I'm getting the text. But, no, thanks for having me on. I had a great time today. It was good to see everybody out there. You can find me on YouTube at Valiant Renegade, Valiant with 2 L's. You can find me on Twitter, same thing, Valiant Renegade. Cover a lot of Hollywood business news, box office news, and, well, that's about it. You heard what I had to say today, so I'm done.
Oh, well, hello, everybody. I'm Riena Creole. Of course, I bring you that spice to sci-fi and pop culture analysis, and I keep it real when it comes to the theme parks here in Orlando, Florida. As for what I've got going on tonight at 7 p.m., I have a video premiere of Afro Samurai episodes 1 through 3. Her and I record a anime show where we watch anime shows and comment on that. So make sure you drop in for that, premiering at 7 p.m. Eastern on my channel. On Sundays at 8 p.m., I have my Welcome to Florida show where we go talk about all kinds of crazy things about the state of Florida, fun stuff about the state of Florida, occasionally some theme park stuff. And on Sunday, we are actually going to be delving into a 3-episode series of Fast Pass being used at Disney World. We're actually going to be EFAPing Defunctland's history of the Fast Pass, giving you our analysis. It'll be me, Culture Casino, and Dad Man Walking. Of course, Mondays, Ladies of the PGS at 6 p.m. Eastern on the Post Geek Singularity channel with our and Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern, my after school special show. I have a video premiering, which we've done with and Damaj and I of the Dark Council, where we are going to be discussing the real male to female ratio in the fandom. So we're going to have a great video premiere of that particular discussion. Wednesdays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern on the Drunk 3PO's Basement channel, the Dark Council. So please do join me for that. And on Fridays at 11:30 a.m., School Lunch Table Show, where I kick off your pop culture weekend, talking about what's on, what's cracking in the and of course, Saturdays, usually at 9 a.m. Eastern, I have a theme park stream, whether it's from Universal or Disney parks. And I want to thank Paulie so much for having me on the channel. I love dropping in the Latino slants like a second home. So thank you so much for having me. And thanks so much to all of you out there. So many of you dropping in to check out this stream. Appreciate it.
And thank you. It really is. It really is your second home. And we love all you guys here on the panel. I want to thank the panel, first of all. I want to thank the chat. This has been a historic chat for us. I think we got over 200 or something like that. You know, we're just talking. We're all just very passionate people when it comes to our entertainment. Depending on the entertainment source, even more so if it's based on a book or a comic book or a work of art. You know, we get very passionate here at the Latino Slant. We cover a lot. I want to, you know, and in that we celebrate a lot. So I was talking about this comedy show called This Fool. So if you're looking for something new, season 1 of This Fool is on Hulu now. It's been on. It just got greenlit for a second season. I highly recommend that. Check out all our reviews. The next live thing that we'll be doing is a post-election on the Latino vote with a couple of really cool people. That's going to be Monday. Look out for that. Then Wednesday, we're going to do our 3rd annual animal shelter fundraiser hosted by my woman, Romy Diaz. And we're going to have, you know, people that you know. Also, too, I have some surprises like, you know, some drop-ins from maybe Danny Trejo. I don't know, maybe some other fun people like that. Gonna be doing it. Let's do 2 things before I go. I want to thank Willie the Monkey Kings music channel of Doom, $2. Polly be greased up and sand shirt, no creepo. Okay, well, you know, maybe for the 5K, I don't know. And this is really what it's all about here, guys. JP Coleman sent me $20. I mean, we put up comments of JP that we just didn't agree with. Obviously, we did something right in talking and having conversation to where he sent me $20. And let me tell you guys, every dollar is huge for anyone trying to do this on a consistent basis. So, muchísimas gracias, mi amigo y toda la gente en el chat, new subscribers, friends, members. That's beautiful, man. Very cool. Thank you so much. You know what? Let's play another fun video. You know, it's all about our uncle. Thank you, JP. Thank you to all the mods, Brandon the anime guy, Darth Plato, Jordy, what's up, man? God bless you, man. God bless you. I encourage you to make sure you are subscribed to everyone on this panel. Rosa Parra, who was here earlier. One last thing, guys. Me and Mexican Iron Man are working on a new concept show, but I can tell you it is going to be called probably like bi-weekly. We're going to do it every 2 weeks. And it's going to be called The Toxic Macho. And that is me. And that's where I get to unleash. That is going to be like a focused show there. God bless you, man. God bless you. We can disagree. That doesn't matter. There can't be discussion. Absolutely. We got to have discourse. Thank you, big discussions. All right, guys. If you're a member of the channel, you're going to see yourself. These are closing credits by the band, the Water Behind the Make sure you're subscribed.
You hear me? Do you care?
And
do you hear me?
Thank you so much.
My lips are moving and the sound's coming out. The words are coming out the as well go up and talk to a wall, 'cause all the words are having no effect at all. It's a funny thing. Am I all alone? Something has to happen to change the direction of the filters to is causing you a distraction. It's a silly thing. I say to myself, what a words for.
All right, here's the demo. Discount codes. Much love, everybody. Incredible.
Do you care?
We'll see you soon. Paz y dale gas.